Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the OFI, the Oceania F1 Invitational, and we are back to bring you round 3 of this 6-round championship, and we head to the circuit Zandvoort, and it's going to be a tremendous ride, that's for sure. George Morgan here, returning in commentary here for this illustrious Aussie Championship, but alongside me for the first time, Matthew Carlson. Matthew, welcome to the show. Looking forward to this. Obviously, we've still got a huge championship lying in wait. 2 rounds down at the moment. It's Gregory Prisbill on top on 52 points, just ahead of Riley McKay, but there's still plenty of time for twists and turns.
Oh, man, I'm absolutely pumped to be here, bro. And I think we've got a cracking lineup tonight with some really fast guys. I think, Campbell Adams is going to come out and have a good show tonight. And I'm surprised with Al Karudin as well, so I'm hoping for some big stuff from him as well.
There is definitely going to be some sick stuff. You're absolutely spot on. Now, we're going to be heading to a track that obviously we all know. It's home of many banked corners. I say many. I mean, the bank corners are absolutely staggering, especially coming through turn 3. You can carry so much momentum. Obviously, first sector is a bit of a song and dance. Then you head down into the roller coaster segment, coming through sector 2. It's full of risk and reward opportunity here, Matthew, at Zandvoort. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I love Zandvoort. I think it really gives a level playing field, especially if we see some rain. I think that could really spice some things up in the race. But as you said, I think a lot of twists and turns through Sector 2. And then it all depends on how you set your car up for Sector 3, doesn't it? That swooping turn 13 and 14 and then down that long DRS straight start-finish line. So yeah, super pumped to see how they navigate it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, that's for sure. Now, just a little update on the championship. Obviously, lots still underway, but, well, lots afoot, we shall say. Gregory Prisbill currently sitting at the top of the championship. First and foremost, actually, we'll take a look at the lineup because, of course, we've got some good names taking part in this season's series. We've got Oscar King and Yusuf Goat at Red Bull, Riley McKay, Campbell Adams at Mercedes, Gregory Prisbill and F1 Ferrari Pro at Ferrari, Al Karudin and Thomas McInnes at McLaren, Karma AU, obviously Australia, with Potato 101 and Aston Martin, Checkered Flag and Spicy Salami at Alpine, Jack Humphreys and McJammy Dodge at Williams, and then Reese Fisher and Matt Plevey in Racing Bull. So that's your lineup ahead of tonight's festivities and through the course of this championship as well. Here is the calendar, of course. We've already been through 2 steps in this series. We've done Bahrain, we've done Saudi Arabia. Gregory Prisbill, the winner in both rounds so far. So can he go on from this and improve furthermore on this 100% record? He has gone 2 for 2 so far and is looking to lay claim to his 3rd victory here tonight. It could yet be the case here at Zandvoort, and a triple crown would put him in good stead. Would mean that he has taken victories in the first half of this championship, Matthew.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane. I don't know if it's ever happened in OFI before, has it? But he's definitely laying his stamp. I heard some calls of a 10-second win tonight. That'll be interesting to see if he can do that, and it'll be interesting to see how he races with that pressure on him as well. But he's a pretty cool guy. I can't really see many people getting close to him. I'm quietly hoping for a little bit of rain just to spice things up tonight, but it'll be really interesting to see how he drives tonight.
Yeah, well, we take a look back at some of the circuits we have been to. Round 1 brought us to the Sakir International Circuit at Bahrain on the 4th of October. Then on the 10th, we went to Jeddah. Once more, Gregory Prisbill came out a race winner after starting P2 on the grid. Wasn't quite pole like we saw back at Bahrain. We now come here to Zandvoort, Circuit Zandvoort here on the 12th of November. That is, of course, the action we're going to be bringing you here today. Later on this week, we head to the Temple of Speed. That is Monza for round 4, 14th of November 2022. That, of course, lies in wait. We then head to our final dance, the final week. It will be Mexico City for round 5 on the 10th of December 2024, and we'll stay on the American continent as well as we head down the strip, Las Vegas, that is, where we'll roll the dice to decide who will become champion here in the OFI this season. So there you have it. There, like I said, a reminder of our calendar. 4 rounds still to go, still a lot to answer, certainly some chapters to be written. It's going to be absolutely sensational, so make sure you stick around, folks. Obviously as well, this series powered by the good people at Next Level Racing, so if you want to get involved, we've got a competition running at the moment for your chance to win a Next Level Racing FGT rig. So if you want to get involved in that, hashtag NLR FGT. Press that in the chat. There's a bot that's collecting these, so you guys can enter the series and also enter the competition and be in with a chance of winning that one as well. So make sure you do. I can already see many of you are already going to work and entering the competition. As you can see there, MooBot doing the business for us, just letting you guys know what you need to do in order to enter. Now, you can enter more than once this season. There is going to be a situation where, of course, you can enter once per round. So we have 6 rounds in the championship, which means a maximum of 6 entries. The winner will be announced, of course, at the end of the final round. So after the race at round 6, we will find out who wins that rig. It's a fantastic prize, Matthew.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic prize. Make sure that you guys are in the chat, pumping those codes in, and yeah, really, really generous to put that prize up for grabs.
Yeah, Next Level Racing, of course, a company that I'm very familiar with. I utilise an FGT myself, and it's a fantastic rig. Love it.
As well.
Absolutely, you use it as
well. Yeah, me as well.
There you go. Me and Matthew, we're endorsed at this point. So there we go. Fantastic.
Absolutely, I love it. I think it's fantastic. Well, great rig. It can move around. It's lightweight.
Yeah, great. Fabulous. Yeah, you get a nice, you get a nice encompassment of GT. I love a bit of GT racing, but also I love my Formula cars as well. You can have the best of both with this rig, so get involved. Now, we need to talk about contenders, Matthew. Now, I've been going around behind the scenes, catching up with a couple of the drivers. First of all, a man who has finished in the top 10 twice so far this campaign, was so close to the podium back at Jeddah. He finished P6 at Bahrain. He finished P4 in Saudi Arabia. I am, of course, talking about Reese Fisher, and we caught up with him earlier this week.
Reese Fisher here. Yeah, the first 2 races were really interesting. Nerves did get the better of me at some points, but 2 Q3s. Can't ask for much more than that. Well, I could have qualified better, but that first race at Bahrain, we lost the train pretty early on, but to come home with a P6 was pretty amazing. And then in Saudi, to come from, I think it was P9 on the grid, and perform a pretty intense undercuts, take advantage of all the issues that were happening in front, to come home with a P4. I couldn't ask for much more for that. It was a pretty insane race to get P4. Sitting P5 in the standings now, going into Zandvoort and Monza. Look, yeah, I feel a little bit underprepared for it, but it is what it is, you know what I mean? You perform your way on the day. Zandvoort, I'm not a big fan of. I don't like the bumps. I know a lot of people like it, but I am really looking forward to Monza. I love Monza. Yes, it can be a bit chaotic, but hey, where there's chaos, there's opportunity. So that's what I've got to take advantage of, just like I did in Saudi. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the rest of the next championship, and looking forward to showing how these older guys can do it too. See you later.
So there we go. That is, of course, Reese Fisher, everybody, and what a contender he truly is. I mean, we've witnessed so many, phenomenal races in the past in the OFI, and I have to tell you, Reese Fisher, someone who's looking to prove definitely prove the point that he is. Despite obviously his age, against some of the young guys who are competing in this championship, Matthew, he wants to send a message. And on top of that, I think he has sent that message. Very close to a podium last time out at Saudi Arabia. Has a great chance now of perhaps even going a step, maybe 2 steps further. Definitely has all the ability in the world to become a race winner. And you never know, Zandvoort could be his night tonight.
Absolutely, George. I think that he hit the nail on the head about qualifying. I think qualifying tonight is going to be super, super important for him. If he gets a little bit of chaos at the front, there's going to be an opportunity there. And then I think apart from that, obviously his race strategy is going to play a big part in tonight, especially if we get a full dry race as well. So I think Zandvoort, it's all set up for someone like Reese to come in and take that step on a podium, or even further into that race win. But I'm up there, one for the older guys, mate. He's got his retirement card. It'll be great to see him do well tonight at Zandvoort.
Yeah, I think he's definitely got some miles left in him, mate. That's for sure. But yeah, looking forward to it. We're just waiting to get into the lobby, folks. Of course, we've got qualifying about to get underway, so sit tight. It's going to be special. Q1 about to get started. Now, as we take a look on in, obviously, Reese Fisher in his prior performances, he, of course, finishing with 2 top 10s. He's not alone, though. It's amazing. But of course, we use the Formula 1 point system here. Gregory Prisbill, on paper, probably with the upper hand already at this very early point. He got the best start that he would have probably wished for. But you can't write off the likes of Riley McKay and the likes of Oscar King as well. You know, these are drivers who are proven at the top level. Of course, many of them racing for the Veloce Academy team. And what about, you know, prior class performers like Jack Humphreys as well? I mean, these are names that we expect to see at the top, right, Matthew?
Well, that's right. You've got guys like Jack Humphreys, now Karudin, who's obviously had strong OFI performances before, who I would have thought would have racked up a few more points coming into this race. And I think they're quite underdogs there. Campbell Adams as well is an up and coming. I think Mercedes has got one of the strongest teams on the grid tonight, and it'll be really interesting to see how they work together in race strategy. I know they're both looking for a podium tonight, so it'll be really interesting to see how they go. But it's just a really strong top 10 at the moment coming into this race.
You're absolutely spot on. Now, as you can see, Q1 now about to get underway. Some of the cars already showing signs of movement in the pit lane. Now, as it stands, it is looking like a dry event so far, but we'll have to sit tight. Obviously, things can change, but here at Zandvoort, despite perhaps patchy grey cloud that we're looking at above right now, does certainly seem that we're going to be witnessing some dry conditions. The first man out onto the track, we mentioned it's a Ferrari. Well, it's this man, your current championship leader, Gregory Prisbill, back-to-back race winner at both Bahrain and Jeddah, and now arrives here in the European side of this series here at Zandvoort, at a track that is has hosted the Dutch Grand Prix. It hosted the Dutch Grand Prix for the first time back in 1950. Such a high degree of legacy held in esteem at this circuit here in the world of Formula One, and of course here now part of the OFI. And Prisbill will be looking to essentially go back to back to back here at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be phenomenal to watch and phenomenal to see. I'm not sure what I want more, to see an underdog come in and take the win, or to see Gregory just go back to back to back would be absolutely fantastic as well. But it does look like he's coming out early, trying to put his stamp on this qualifying, and obviously get a quick lap in, and then you've got Q2 and Q3 as well.
Yeah, all heading down the long straight now, just trying to get those tyres aggressively warmed up now as he looks to get underway. 15 minutes and 57 to bring you all the action here at this stage already. We've had a couple of drivers leave the session. Al Karudin, I think, having some issues, but of course we'll see him back hopefully very shortly. Gregory Prisbill, though, focusing on heading out and looking to post his first lap of the session. Now, a lot of this will just be a case of just trying to find their bearings essentially here. No concerns with using the intermediate tyres. I know at the top level of competition we'll generally see many of the drivers adopting the inters, and some of them are, Reese Fisher being one of them, Joshua Lee, as well as Abyss, who is about to head out for his first race this season. Karma F1 also debuting in this race too, with Sebastian Spicer also occupying the intermediate. So a few of the drivers looking to just run a few test laps, set perhaps an initial benchmark. You know, it's not necessarily all about being the fastest in the opening stages of Q1. It's just a situation where you need to lay down a comfortable banker so that you have something to work with later into the session. Yeah,
absolutely. And getting that banker in early, give yourself some time to recompose for Q2 and Q3. Having, Abyss in tonight, coming in as a reserve, and I've had a bit of a chat to him, and he said that he's quite happy with his lap times. Not as much practice and preparation as he would like coming into this event, but he said that he reckons he can mix it with the rest of them. So really interested to see what he can do in the Haas.
Well, here comes now Joshua Lee. Riley McKay goes fastest with a 1:16, but that is trumped by the intermediate tyres of Joshua Lee, who sets a 1:11.713. So that is a huge gulf in difference. But bear in mind, folks, we did see the likes of Gregory Prisbill obviously running a lap while warming tyres up. Sebastian Spicer jumping out of Reese Fisher as well in the Alpine. And he drops a time that is just over 1.5 tenths slower than Joshua Lee at the top. So it's intermediate tyres across the top three in the timing tower so far. Still plenty of activity out on track. And as expected, Gregory Prisbill is going again, and he's just gone purple in the first sector. A 24.086 to kick us off in Sector 1, and he's just gone purple in Sector 2. So this will be a proper flying lap. Seemingly, it seems the case that he just wanted to run 2 out laps in order to get those tyres warmed up. And now he's showing us what they can do. With 13 minutes and 30 to go, championship leader Gregory Prisbill, fastest with the first 108 single digit of the session, a 108.569.
Oh, that is a cracking lap, isn't it? And Gregory Prisbill just lays it down and says, catch me if you can. I think he's going to one place now, back to the garage, grab a pillow out, snooze, and wait for Q2.
Yeah, Oscar King looking to become the king and be hoping to be crowned this time around here at Zandvoort. He's gone purple in the first sector, which does mean that he's stolen that off Gregory Prisbill. Riley McKay hopping up into P2 as well. We just caught him crossing the line just then, but it's now on King to try and discover that little bit extra. He's gone green in the middle sector as you'd expect. Obviously his last time, not necessarily representative here at this point, but this time on the softs. And with the tyres well and truly warmed up, he's going to give himself the best chance possible. Around the final corner, coming through turn 14 and up towards the line. Will he go higher than Gregory Prisbill? Yes, he will. A 108.543, which sends him 26 thousandths faster than Gregory Prisbill. And he took the purple third sector on that last lap.
Yeah, absolutely great race. And Gregory's teammate as well in the Ferrari, F1 Ferrari Pro, has just gone purple first sector. He had 2 warm-up laps as well, so the 125 is obviously a throwaway, and he's coming up to the end of sector 2 now, where he's just done a 48.17. So purple first 2 sectors for him.
Websey coming around the final corner as well at turn 14, and he's got a little bit of traffic further up, but the Mercedes coming into the pits. So let's see where Websey goes. P5 just behind teammate Big Manry, who currently sits in 4th fastest territory right now, but that's a good lap there from Websey to get himself started. F1 Ferrari Pro moves up into 5th place, so splits the 2 Kick Saubers here at this point. We've also got personal improvements here as well on show. Yusuf Goat actually travelling relatively quickly in the first sector, 25.518, though as I say that, actually, if you compare it to many of the laps that we have seen already, many of them in the 24s. Now, this is a statement of intent. Gregory Prisbill retiring early, Matthew.
Yeah, that's interesting. I thought he might do that, but I don't know, 108.5, it should be enough. It should be enough for the top 15, but quite a statement to the rest of the field.
Yeah, it's quite the statement. Coming up towards the line now, Yusuf Goat goes 11th fastest here at this stage, and now moves through turn 1, and looks comfortable. Oscar King, though, his teammate, still holds all the cards up at the very top. We've also got some movements further back as well with Campbell Adams, who is now registering a 24.234. That's a very fast first sector here at this point for the Mercedes. Campbell Adams looking to dig deep and discover some time of his own. Would obviously be very helpful for him to do so, but unfortunately in this case he has got a little bit of traffic around him, and he's got that rear light flashing on his car, so he definitely will not be going fastest here at this point. Still plenty of activity out on track as it stands. Yusuf Goat, as we said, still making his way around the circuit. DRS will now open up for him, heading down the straight through towards turn 11, where he'll enter sector 3. Rumbles over the curbs, and then on the outset will move his way through towards turn 13 and 14 to bring an end to this flying lap. Has also got a little bit of a battle with traffic in front of him, but I don't think they'll cause an imposition in terms of what this lap will bring him. He's got a nice little bit of air in between he and the Williams that is currently warming up his tyres in front of him here. Here comes Yusuf Goat, goes 3rd fastest, so Red Bull now 1 and 3 with Gregory Prisbill stacked in between.
Yeah, absolutely great lap by Yusuf Goat there. And the Williams and Jack Humphries also on a bit of a flyer as well. He's just gone past the turn 14 to finish his lap down the main straight. It'll be interesting to see where he can put it. He wants to put a stamp as well. Goes P3 with a 108.692. Good lap there by Jack.
It's a fantastic lap for Jack. And I must say, credit to him. He hasn't had it easy this season. And speaking to a few names and faces, obviously a name that we find synonymous with the Australian continent, or the Aussie continent, the Oceania continent, I should say, where it comes to the F1 game. Jack Humphries is, of course, someone who has flown the flag for this region, and at the same time has competed at the highest level in terms of league action at leagues like PSGL and WOR, and of course a driver I once had in my own sim racing team, and I must say he was a loyal servant to the Intrepid lineup as well, as was Oscar King. They came together, did Jack Humphries and Oscar King, and now King is working hard with the Veloce Academy lineup as well. Gregory Prisbill doing the same, and both of them showing every reason why they are associated with the Veloce organisation. Al Karudin leaving the session. He's having issues once more. Now, obviously, those technical concerns are not going to help him, but in this case, I'm looking at him, he actually hasn't even set a lap yet, Matthew. This could be really detrimental to his session.
Yeah, absolutely. He hasn't had the best starts by his standard coming into this championship either, you know, so it'd be great if we could get back in, get in that top 15. As we see Plevs come through as well, the final sector, sorry, I was looking at the wrong driver there.
Well, Plevs now heading up towards the line. Let's see what he brings. Obviously, first sector was a 27, not necessarily the best first sector. Comes across the line with a 1:16.327, but he did only just set one lap on those tyres. So it might be the case that he's just looking to heat them up a little more, and he'll go again. Just see there, just locking up the tyres, coming through the back corners, the smoke billowing out to the front lefts as he now flies through towards Sector 2, where he'll then meet Turn 7, heading downhill. But yeah, not ideal for Plevs really at this very early stage. Still those 7 minutes and 30. He's not out of this by any means. Plenty of time to register a faster lap time. No one necessarily going purple at this stage at the moment. It's still being held by Oscar King and Gregory Prisball, who is already retired. Doesn't see any need on going out again, and neither does Oscar King. Both of the top two deciding to bring an end to their session early.
Yeah, I think that's smart. I think we'll see a cutoff time of here about, you know, maybe a 109.2 maybe. 109. I think the track will ramp up a little bit in the next 7 minutes as well, as we see Campbell Adams and Jack Humphreys also retire from this session, so no need to go out. Potato coming in at P9 as well there with a 109.132. So a decent lap by him should be fast enough.
Yeah. Top four have now retired, so we've got Oscar King, Gregory Prisball, Campbell Adams and Jack Humphreys. So already the four declared that they have completed their sessions. Joshua Lee also showing personal bests in the first two sectors. He set an initial run on intermediate tyres, then hopped up onto the softs. Goes fifth fastest, so hops all the way from the bottom end out of elimination up to the very top. He is now fifth fastest here in this stint, and now sits just ahead of the two RBs of Plevs and Reese Fisher. So Plevs, despite having that initial run that we weren't so sure about, obviously it was all about getting those tyres heated. He moved up into the top 10, so a great job on his part as well to achieve that. It now places higher emphasis on Abyss, Checkered Flag, Karma F1, Thomas McInnes and Al Karudin. McInnes still yet to set a fast lap on top of that 111 that he did manage to register earlier on in the session.
Yeah, absolutely. And Thomas McInnes now out on the soft tyres, obviously trying to get a bit of a faster lap. He did all right in the first sector, locked up a little bit into turn 3, coming into that corner there, but he's coming up to the end of the second sector, so it'll be interesting to see what that McLaren can do. Obviously, the McLarens would like at least one of the cars out of this qualifying in this session.
Yeah, heading down now the long straight out of turn 10 towards turn 11. Again, DRS applied, but immediately the rear wing snaps shut as soon as he hits the braking zone. And then through towards turn 12, he'll then open up the throttle again and then feather it before then slamming it back down around turn 13 and 14 as he now flies through the final corner. Again, the rear wing opens up for the Papaya McLaren. Thomas McInnes scoring his sole point back at Bahrain last time out. Does not manage to improve on his lap. In fact, it was the first two sectors were less than impressive. Despite, though, going green in that final sector, it was only enough for a 1:13.417. So, in actual fact, 1.5 seconds slower than his previous lap. But he will go again on this soft set of tyres and needs to really get a lap in ASAP, because we're coming into the final 4.5 minutes.
Yeah, I think this will be it for Thomas McInnes. I think he did throw away that lap halfway through, tried to recharge the battery. He's got about 44% of it left for this run. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough to get him through.
No, we'll have to wait and see whether he can. He has gone green, though, in the first sector with a 24.361. So this is definitely more representative than others we have seen. Just to give you a ballpark, that puts him in line with the likes of Reese Fisher in P8. And if you want to further that point, puts him in there with Sebastian Spicer. So if he can bring this lap home and consolidate it again, 23.7. Now that, incidentally, that middle sector is faster than Reese Fisher. So if he puts in a decent third sector, he could hop as high as P6 as we now watch him come across the line. No, that final sector did not correspond, but it's enough for P11 and enough for at least safety should he stay there. But bear in mind, every driver is going to be hopping out in the final 3 minutes or so to register their final runs of the session, and that essentially is going to be a one-lap dash. The top 5 now retired as Riley McKay joins the others.
Yeah, it's going to be an absolute critical cutoff. I mean, I called a 109.2, but it looks like it's going to be, I think, closer to a 109 flat, George, to get through.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And at the moment, the 109 flats currently being helmed by Reese Fisher. He's the highest of them. And then you have got Yusuf Goat, Thomas McInnes, Potato 101. Of course, remember, bottom 5 get eliminated at the end of Q1, so that's going to be the talking point, should we say. F1 Ferrari Pro looking to get those tyres warmed up as well. Actually hopped out of the pits rather early. He's actually kind of out of sync here, so he's going to have, I think, a little bit of a battle with traffic, which could cause him a little issue. And bear in mind, he's only 2 spots away from the elimination zone.
Yeah, I think some of these cars came out pretty early for the end of the session. As you can see, there's still quite a few cars in the pits as well. 2.5 minutes to go. Yeah,
heading through now the middle sector. F1 Ferrari Pro now making his way down through towards the next right-hander. Obviously looking to bring his absolute best here for the Scuderia Ferrari team. Of course, his teammate, currently enjoying championship lead success at the moment, has gone back-to-back with race wins. All the way back at Bahrain, then again at Jeddah. And now we're watching as they now sprint down through towards the right and left. And the team from Maranello heading down now and has already backed out of it. And no surprises. To be fair, though, the initial lap wasn't actually a fast one. It's all about getting those tyres warmed up, Matthew.
Yeah, absolutely. And it does look like today, especially at Zandvoort, it does take 2 laps to get those tyres warmed up to optimal speed. So, you know, these drivers like Potato, Big Man Rye, people are staying in the pits. I don't know if that's going to come back and bite them later as their tyres aren't going to be optimal pressure or temperature, for their lap.
Yeah, well, Ferrari Pro now heading out. This, no doubt, is going to be his fast run as we now watch them heading around the bank corners, coming through turn 3 and now through towards turn 4, 5 and 6. Through this slight soiree, not quite as aggressive as Maggots and Beckett's that you see in the British Grand Prix circuit of Silverstone, but still, nonetheless, it is still a dance that these drivers have to take, and it can throw you off from time to time as he now locks up those tyres once more, coming through this right-hander at turn 8. Obviously not necessarily locking up. This is, of course, an effect we generally see on the F1 game from time to time as we now watch him head down the long straight with DRS open. And then heading down in towards the braking zone at turn 11, cutting in deep to turn 12. And then we'll take the run through towards turn 13. I'm keeping my eyes peeled. Improvements out. Al-Karudin finally getting a lap off at this point. Has managed to enlist a time on the board, but it'll be his next lap that's crucial with 50 seconds to go. Here comes F1 Ferrari Pro this time. He is 2 steps away from being eliminated. Can he go higher? Yes, he can. P7 there for F1 Ferrari Pro. 2 laps enlisted. He had 1 extra to warm them up, and he has now reaped the benefits. It's a 108.955.
Great lap by him. Karma went round as well, tried to get himself out of the bottom 5. Unfortunately, only good enough for a 109.356, and I think that will be the end of his qualifying session today.
Yeah, Reese Fisher also finding improvements in the first sector. The middle sector, though, fairly ordinary. Let's see what he can do, though. He's lost a couple of places since he was last in I think he was in P7 not too long ago, just ahead of his teammate Plevs. But he's just hopped back up there now. Funny enough, there we are. Reese Fisher, well done. Just ahead of F1 Ferrari Pro, with Plevs now in behind the Ferrari himself. So the 2 RBs now divided as we now watch as yet more drivers make their way around this circuit. We have also got Al-Karudin looking to improve as well. Now remember, he is in the elimination zone. His last lap was a 112.266 and not coming into the pits as it looked like he was going to do, but he's out. Al-Karudin out of qualifying, eliminated here at this stage, which is a huge shock. Potato is also out as well. Plevs retiring. He knows there's nothing more he can do. And more cars now coming across the line. Sebastian Spicer, 13th place. Big Manry out of quali. So is Karma F1. We've lost as well. Thomas McInnes is currently in the drop zone and is looking to improve, but he's found 66 thousandths of a second as now the Papaya McLaren sprints around the final corner at turn 14. Can he grasp safety and eliminate Yusuf Goat? Yes, he can. Thomas McInnes up into the top 10 with a 108.981, a clutch lap from the young man, and that eliminates Yusuf Goat. He will not be heading through to Q2.
I will absolutely eat my hat. I have no idea how Thomas McInnes got around to be able to get another lap in, but what a lap by Thomas McInnes. A 108.981. Yusuf Goat must be absolutely spewing.
Yeah, no, what a tremendous lap. A clutch lap that was required for Thomas McInnes, and Abyss just hanging on by a thread at the very bitter end. But what an astonishing moment indeed. A great lap from Thomas McInnes to really nail down his place into Q2. But some shocks there as well. Al-Kharoudin, when we look historically at this championship, Matt, generally someone you'd expect to be fighting up at the top end.
Mate, I'd probably put some money on saying that he only needs one lap to be able to get a 108, high 108 to get into the top 15 there to get through. So it's going to be an absolutely fantastic race to see him working from the back. So great result for the viewers, not a great result for the McLarens.
Yeah, well, there we have it. It's all been decided. It is, of course, going to be at the very top of the shop, Oscar King for Q1 and Gregory Prisbill in P2 with third place going to a Mercedes. But in this case, it was a clutch lap there for Thomas McInnes that essentially decided the fate of the final spot in the elimination zone, and it went a Red Bull's way. We lost also Potato Kartma F1 on his debut appearance this season, his maiden appearance this campaign. Of course, losing Al-Kharoudin was quite the shock, but nonetheless, we look forward to the next session. It's going to be tremendous. I'm not sure whether we're going to actually get results from our first session of qualifying. We do like to, because obviously we like to give you guys a rundown as to who's joined, who's left, and who's lost. But in this case, it doesn't look like we're going to get it. So sorry about that, folks, but never mind. But yeah, we'll get underway very shortly. Now, before we get into our next session, let's take a look at a little interview with Thomas McInnes, who really lit the fireworks at the end of that last qualifying session. Let's hear from him now.
Probably didn't go the way I was hoping. In Bahrain, I wasn't really expecting too much, and I ended up getting Q3, I believe, and also a point. So at the start of the day, if you said I got a point on the board, I would have been quite happy, but I was actually fighting for 7th or even 6th, I think, on the day. So I think I finished just behind 6th place, only second or two behind. So if you look at it that way, I feel like it could have had more points, but at the end of the day, Bahrain was pretty good. And for Jeddah was actually something I circled. Jeddah was actually something I circled for the calendar as maybe my best chance to get points. Jeddah is one of my top 3 pace-wise circuits of the game, and even though I think I qualified 7th, I think that'll be my best qualifying all throughout the whole of this OFI campaign. And in the race, I was fighting really well with the top guys, and then I got a bit of damage early on, and my race just derailed from there, which is really disappointing because some of the guys I was battling with, I think the 2 guys that qualified in front of me ended up getting 3rd and 4th in the race, and I think I could have battled with them all the way through. So it was a bit disappointing, to say the least, but we have to move on. And yeah, about this week, we got Zandvoort first, and I think I quietly have some pretty good pace. I'm quietly confident I can get into another Q3, try and go 3 for 3 in Q3s for OFI. And I think my race pace is even better than my quali pace. So we're quietly confident. I don't know. We'll see. We'll try and get a point. Hopefully, if I'm outside the points here, I could be in a bit of trouble for the championship. But it should be okay. I'm going to really try and go for points, and if I get anything higher than 8th, I'll be over the moon, I think. Just get some more points on the board for the championship. And for Monza, it's going to be a bit like Jeddah. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a bit like Jeddah. Lots of 2 or even 3 wides all the way through the pack. So it's just up to me to try and get my way through the pack. Hopefully, I can get no damage this time like I did at Jeddah. And although I think I'm a bit worse at Monza comparatively to my pace at Jeddah, I think I can still go for even Q3 again and points and really get my championship going. I was hoping for top 10 in the championship overall. Currently 14th with only 1 point. I would have liked a little bit more at this point.
Well, it looks like we've actually lost our feed there to our man Thomas McInnes, but still, nonetheless, great to hear from him. We had a little bit of fun with obviously that first session, but coming to the end of it, I mean, at the end of the day, this is exactly what we're on about. So you just see Oscar King taking a bit of an interesting line coming through the middle sector. Things got a little bit harem-scarum for him heading into the next right-hander. Bit tricky. Jack Humphreys immediately going fastest in this first runs that we're seeing here, Matthew. I mean, how do you summarise? Obviously, I mean, it was a key lap, wasn't it, for Thomas McInnes to get into Q2, wasn't it? I mean, he needed that final lap the way it was going, it looked tough.
Yeah, I think he had a tough run. I think it was a great clutch lap in the end there. I think he's going to have to find some more time than he did, obviously, in Q1 to get through to Q3. And I think if he can get through to Q3, I think it's going to be a fantastic achievement for him. I think there's a lot of fast guys here where it looks like Zandvoort is working really well for them. MC Jammy also found a second and a half in his last lap as well, so clutched up into, I think, P8 or P9 there in Q1 as well. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do. But yeah, it'll be good to watch both Thomas and MC Jammy and see what they can do in this qualifying.
Yeah, no, it certainly will do. Qualifying still very much, well, it is definitely in full swing here at the moment. At the moment, though, Jack Humphreys at the top of the tree, 108.592, the only driver in the 108s in this initial. But Oscar King has just taken the purple first sector, and I must say, it's a tremendous purple first sector in the opening stages of Q2 here. 10 minutes and 50 to go. 24.033. Now, Riley McKay will be the first to cross the line first. Now, he's gone purple in sector 2, so we're going to see 2 potentially purple laps. Gregory Prisbill takes P1 away from Jack Humphreys with a 108.446, but is Riley McKay going to jump Prisbill and take that top spot off him? Oscar King could do the same. Yes, McKay goes fastest immediately now. We're now going to watch Oscar King. Can he do the same? 23.6 in that middle sector. He's invalidated the run, though. Ran the final sector. Now, that has cost him a potential P1 visit in the opening stages. Would have actually sent a clear message, but one team that have sent a clear message are Mercedes. Riley McKay in P1, and Campbell Adams hops up into P2.
Yeah, I really like this Mercedes team tonight. I know Campbell Adams have been absolutely grinding Zandvoort as of late. He comes in with some good pace, and he comes in with some a really good form at the moment in Wallaby as well. So Campbell Adams doing really well.
Yeah, absolutely right. Bringing his best to the forefront. MC or Muck Jammy Dodge now also making his way up towards the line. From the back of the grid, he'll pop up into P11. Still not safe, elimination territory. But obviously with that 112.849, he's going to be looking to dig deep for potentially a little more. So sit tight, everybody, as we await for the remainder of quali. We've still got 9 minutes and just under 25 to go. At the top of the shop is still the Mercedes outfit belonging to Riley McKay and Campbell Adams, with Gregory Prisbill and Ferrari in third. Jack Humphreys now in the pits as well in fourth. Joshua Lee hopping up into fifth fastest, just ahead of Thomas McInnes, who we just heard from as well. Again, he centred his discussion around points. Obviously, points mean prizes at the end of the day, Matthew. Thomas McInnes doing a great job to lay claim to a solitary point back at Bahrain, but it didn't go to plan in our last race at Jeddah. Obviously, a retirement back at Saudi Arabia, and it's never ideal because as soon as you have one of those, you forfeit a huge amount of points.
Yeah, that's right. And as he said, I think the damage early on didn't help him. He just had to sort of battle through in Jeddah. He didn't have a great run, but what was good to see and encouraging to see was he was battling those top guys, and he reflected on that in his interview. And it's good to see that he's not afraid to do that. And so I hope tonight he comes in with confidence, hasn't dented it, but I'd really love to see him in the top 10 tonight.
Yeah, McJammy Dodge went 7th fastest as well with a 109.175, so did manage to find that improvement that we saw earlier on as we watch Checkered Flag come up towards the line, only enough for 14th. Now, Oscar King, the only driver that's really been unable to set a reasonably representative lap time. Of course, his lap was a 127.160. Was on the cusp of P1, you'd fathom, should he have been able to hook up that final sector, which actually led to an invalidation. His last lap that actually is displayed on the timing tower, the last valid one anyway, was a 127.160. So bear in mind, that is them warming up the tyres. They can't afford to really damage the rubber too much. They want to do ideally 2 laps, which could be compensating for fuel, trying to lighten the weight of the car at the same time as getting the heat into the tyres, Matthew.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at this level, everything matters. The lower fuel matters, the tyre temperatures matter. You do lose a little bit of new tyre wear, but it's certainly gained in getting the optimal tyre temperature going around this Zandvoort. It's a fairly short lap compared to other laps on the calendar. With a 109, so super important. A driver I want to watch tonight as well, George, is F1 Ferrari Pro. He's currently 13th in the championships, and if he can get through this qualifying, I think it's a good standing for him as well.
Yeah, definitely. Also, a good showing from Checkered Flag, who now hops up to P7. So the two Alpines now manacled together with Sebastian Spicer in 6th place. Oscar King starting to make his way around the track, coming through towards the final sector as well. 3rd sector still to come. First 2 sectors, though, aren't great here so far. Back on those used tyres, the scrub tyres that he's already set laps on, but is now heading back out again. Obviously doesn't want to waste a set, so this is essentially his out lap, but now making his way down through towards turn 1 once again. That last lap, 1:16.938. He'll be looking to go a little bit quicker this time, though. Needs to try and join the others in 108, 109 territory, ideally 108s if he wants to at least harness safety. Sebastian Spicer, 109 right on the mark. Treble 0, as you can see in the final 3 digits. So Spicer on the brink of jumping into the 108s. But at the moment, it's still Mercedes holding all the cards. Riley McKay, Campbell Adams, they will have a safe run into Q3, should it remain like this, along with Gregory Prisbill just in behind. We're now coming into the final 5 minutes or so. Reese Fisher now P5 ahead of Joshua Lee, who is now in 6th place. As we now watch Oscar King now heading out of the middle sector. Now, he did go purple briefly in that first sector, so that suggests that time was taken away, and I think it might have been actually, in fact, it's Gregory Prisbill who holds the purple first sector, but Oscar King was only mere thousandths away from taking it himself. Comes up towards the line, goes 5th fastest, Oscar King. That's not a bad reply after invalidating around the final corner in his earlier flying lap.
Absolutely. It'll help him to breathe a little bit easier as well going into the last 5 minutes of this qualifying. Plebs and Websy both setting times in the 108s as well while that was happening. Plebs had a great middle sector, good first sector as well. So one to watch. It'd be good to see if he can get through.
Yeah, no, tremendous. Oscar King, I'm sure, will be absolutely thrilled with that. So that is now, in this moment, top 10 all in the 108s, but obviously you need to be in the early 108s ideally, I think, for safety here at this stage. And Jack Humphreys, obviously with him going straight back out again, knows that maybe even a 108.5 isn't necessarily safe, and I think also wants to make his mark, doesn't want to allow Gregory Prisbill, Riley McKay and Campbell Adams to have all the fun in the top 3. And if there's one thing we know about Jack Humphreys, he is a staunch competitor who wants to represent himself in the highest possible manner. He wants to compete at the highest level, as, like I said before, flown the flag for the Oceanic regions in European League racing, and one of the OGs really for bringing attention to the continent. And we're still awaiting really our first top Aussie, our first top Oceanic driver to come through into the F1 Sim Racing Championship. So, you know, these drivers all looking to hopefully provide that huge boost of inspiration to really inspire those young individuals to, you know, move on up and challenge at the very top level. As we now watch Jack Humphreys come around the final corner at turn 14 and burst down the long straight. New lap now about to get underway. 3 minutes and 40 to go, and as you'd expect, he'll probably run 2 laps on these tyres, 2 flying laps at the very least. 1 lap concluded on them already, but he might want to drop some of the fuel.
Yeah, absolutely. And Thomas McKinnon setting a 108.751 there. I'm not sure if it's going to be quick enough. I'm not sure if he's giving himself enough time this time to get around and get a clutch lap in. But I ate my hat in Q1. I might eat my hat in Q2 as well. But there's some fast guys under him in Reese Fisher and Plebs. Joshua Lee will be setting a faster time as well, I'd imagine. So it'll be really interesting to see if that's going to be fast enough to get through.
Yeah, we will wait and see. Jack Humphreys coming through the left-hander now out of turn 10. And will now open up the DRS and burst down through towards turn 11, where he'll meet the chicane and enter sector 3 here on this flying lap. Now, the first 2 sectors look relatively strong. In fact, the first sector is quite impressive. 24.122, not far away from Oscar King or Gregory Prisbill. Purple first sector, though, for Campbell Adams, and he's gone green in the middle sector as well. So improvements in hand here for the Mercedes driver. And in comes Jack Humphreys, obviously not happy with his lap, but following in behind comes Campbell Adams, who's looking to unseat his teammates off the top spot, but moves into the pit lanes. Obviously not happy with his 3rd sector. Jack Humphreys retiring from the session. Obviously feels he has nothing left to give. Oscar King also retiring. So it's now down to the 6 and below to decide who gets through in qualifying. And we've got all those in the bottom 5, all now looking to register their final flying laps. It's going to get very, well, the fireworks are going to unfold here, Matthew.
Absolutely, and Joshua Lee also not happy with his lap either. Dived into the pits at the end of his last hot lap. I don't know if he's going to have enough time to get out, but he's going to be a nervous little cookie at the moment. He's trying to get in and out as quick as possible. 1:46 to go in Q2.
Yeah, yet another retirement from the session. Campbell Adams calling it a day as well. Doesn't have anything to worry about, but if anything, God, that last lap definitely had all the prospects of a P1 lap time. Riley McKay still going out, and he's looking to improve on that 108.3 once again, as is Gregory Prisbill, who is still out on track as well. So we'll keep you posted as to what's happening over there too. But at this stage, we're watching as McJamie Dodge makes his way around the final few corners. Now, bear in mind, at the back of this field, needs to dig deep and find something massive here in the closing stages. Obviously, at this case, it won't happen this lap. It registered him just over 4 tenths down. In fact, nearly 7 tenths at this point. So needs to go again. And this is crucial. It's got to happen on this lap for McJamie Dodge. It's got to happen here for Checkered Flag and Sebastian Spicer, Abyss as well, and Websy. They're all going to come in thick and fast. It's now or never for a shot at the shootout in Q3.
And Joshua Lee has got out in time, so I think he's going to have enough time to get around. He's warming his tyres up. Obviously not going to have those 2 laps, so temperatures aren't going to be ideal. As you can see, he's trying to warm up those soft tyres as much as he can. Currently in P8, 108.756.
Yeah, we're now watching as we see McJamie Dodge fly through the middle sector and then down the semi-straight. Thomas McKinnon is also on the brink of elimination, as well as Joshua Lee, because they're at the bottom end of the top 10. Riley McKay, obviously now still holding on to P1, but Gregory Prisbill has gone purple in the first sector. He's answered with its 24.002. That is a stunning lap.
Wow.
Or a stunning sector, indeed, from Gregory Prisbill. And purple in the second sector for Riley McKay. So 2 of our top 3 are now starting to dice out for P1 here in Q2. Here comes McJamie Dodge. P10 just barely jumps up into the Q3 equation, but how long will he stay there? Riley McKay going fastest. What about Gregory Prisbill, second fastest? So already we're seeing some jumbling further down. Checkered Flag also finding a little bit of time as well. He's green in Sector 1 and Sector 2. Checkered Flag is out. It's Checkered Flag himself going to be out. P15 across the line. He's through. P6 there for Checkered Flag. Fantastic lap from him.
Oh, Plebs has just abandoned his lap, so Plebs is out of qualifying. Didn't finish his lap, had some trouble in Sector 2. I'm not sure too much what happened, but yeah, he's out of qualifying. Plebs did not set a lap, and neither did Reese Fisher.
Yeah, relief.
Also out.
Relief as well for Joshua Lee at this point, who was just about to bring an end to his lap, but it was not a good one, so he can breathe a sigh. He was right on the cusp, as was Thomas McInnes. We spoke about it earlier on, but they won't have to worry one iota. McJamie Dodge could not dodge a Q2 exit. He is out. And Reese Fisher, Plebs, really, really poor session for RB, with both drivers heading out. And Reese Fisher, a little bit of a shock. I think that's actually the first time he's going to qualify this season outside of the top 10. So that is a bit of a shocker. Plebs also out as well. Abyss and Sebastian Spicer. So some names that will not be making it through to the next session. But how about that? I mean, that was a truly remarkable ending to Q2. Riley McKay, your fastest driver, just fastest by over 1/10 of a second of Gregory Prisbill, championship leader, P2. Campbell Adams in 3rd, Jack Humphreys in 4th, Oscar King in 5th, Checkered Flag in 6th with F1 Ferrari Pro 7th, Websy in 8th, Thomas McInnes in 9th, Joshua Lee in 10th. We then head down and look at our eliminees. We lose McJamie Dodge, Reese Fisher, Plebs, Abyss, and Sebastian Spicer. So there we have it. Those are going to be the drivers, the top 10 heading through to Q2 later on. Joshua Lee, I think, will be breathing a huge sigh of relief here, Matthew.
A huge sigh of relief to the tune of 0.004 of a second, because that was the gap between 10th and 11th. And what a grid we have, George. I think it was 1/10 between, 9 or 10 of those drivers. So this is absolutely brutal. Pole position is up for grabs in Q3, and I cannot wait to see who gets it.
It's going to be megally spicy. In terms of performances, you've got to give Checkered Flag credit. What a final lap to jump out of the drop zone, essentially, and manage to move up into a really solid position in the top 10. I mean, that was a clutch lap if I've ever seen one.
Oh, I think he's still seeing stars. I don't think he even knew what happened. He just put 3 sectors together. Perfect lap for him. Absolutely cracking lap. And yeah, it'll be really interesting to see. Currently 18th in the championship for OFI. So didn't have a great run in the first two races, but he's got a great opportunity to get some points here in Zandvoort.
Yeah, definitely has a great chance. That has to be sure. I mean, what are your expectations? Who's been your eye catcher, Matthew? All in all, from what we've seen already from the first two sessions, who's really, I suppose, surprised you at this point?
I mean, you can't go past Gregory. I mean, that's obviously no surprise for me. I said at the start, I like the Mercedes boys going in. I still like the Mercedes boys now. I think either of those two can get a P1. But obviously, Checkered Flag's been a big surprise for me. I didn't expect to see him in Q3, but he has actually absolutely showed that he can put a lap together. So can he do it again under the pressure of Q3? Time will tell.
We'll have to wait and see. Every opportunity, it definitely has to say, there is definitely plenty of opportunities still out there for many of the drivers so far. It's not over just yet. Still plenty to talk about, still plenty to discuss. As you can see, Q3 now is underway, folks. So get your predictions in. We want to hear from you. Who's going to take pole position? Let us know in the live chat. We want to hear from you. This is the portion of the show that I like to bring the audience in. Let us know who you're supporting, who you think is going to take pole. We've got already a very active pit lane. Oscar King just about to make his way out onto the circuit. Jack Humphreys and Joshua Lee on their fast runs as it stands, though they might be looking to go out on the following lap. But let me hear from you, Matthew, as we get into it. Give us your prediction first, sir.
I'm going to go for an outlier. I love an underdog. I'm going to go P1, Campbell Adams.
Campbell Adams is the answer as far as Matthew Carlson's concerned. Now, I'm looking at you guys in the live chat. We've got Riley, says Dunno. We've got Campbell, says Peter Bonington. We've got Riley, says Jaden Squires. We've got Cool Boy, says Buster. We've got Greg, says Oshillo. We've got Campbell, Sigma Dams. That is brilliant, Peter Bonington. We've also got Websy, says Lord Mahavir. We've got Ratbag, says Timmy. We've got Checkered, says Lord Mahavir. We've got Ferrari Pro on pole, says Braden Roma. Ferrari Pro as well, says Danny Rick. So he's got a lot of supporters out there. Let's see if you guys are spot on. Keep us posted and we will show you exactly how it's going to unfold. Jack Humphreys about to cross the line to register his first flying lap of the session. That's a 108.4 straight away in the 108. He's just unrelenting, isn't he, Matthew?
Oh, absolutely unrelenting. Jack Humphreys, you said it down in Q2. He's not happy with P4. He's not happy with P3. He wants to be the best. He wants to fly the flag, and he'll settle for nothing less than pole position here this afternoon.
And neither will Gregory Prisbell, I'm sure. Obviously, the driver that managed to put it on pole back at Bahrain. And, of course, as we look now further into the session, this is a qualifying session that will decide the fate of many. Of course, as far as the OFI is concerned, Gregory Prisbell on a quest for a triple crown this season. Goes third fastest with a 122. Nothing to get excited about just yet. Of course, way off where Jack Humphreys currently sits in the 108s, 437s. As we now watch them come through the first sector and get underway. Big hello to every single one of you tuning in across the oceanic regions. It's a pleasure to have you this morning and this evening, wherever you are in the world, of course. I'm from the UK, so for me, it's currently coming up to 9:30 this morning. I was up at 6 in the morning, ready for you guys, so loving it. I tell you what, there's not a day goes by where I don't love a bit of racing here on the F1 game. Gregory Prisbell now registering a purple first sector. Now that is a 23.996. Now, we weren't seeing anything like that, Matthew, in prior sessions. We're stepping into territory that we've yet to discover so far in the first sector. So this is going to be a mean lap here from our championship leader, Gregory Prisbell. The first sector, 23.996. Remember, previous fast runs, we were lucky to get into the early 24s. This could be an astonishing lap. 23.5 in the middle sector for Gregory Prisbell. Championship leader going for the gold. Will he take it? Yes, P1 again. 108.210. Very nearly up to the high 108s. Very nearly 107s. It's possible, but for Gregory Prisbell, anything is surely possible. And Oscar King has just gone faster than him again in the first sector. So we're starting to dip, I think, into that 107 territory.
Yeah, absolutely. What a lap by Gregory Prisbell. I mean, he throws the gauntlet down. This guy is cool as a cucumber. Going for the triple crown, 22 points ahead in the championship and puts a 108.2 on the board. As cool as you like.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, as cool as you like. You have to be cool if you're Oscar King. The King is back and looking to take the throne. Purple in the first sector with a 23.973. Riley McKay's gone purple in the second sector. I tell you what, keep your eyes panned throughout this field as Oscar King goes P2. But where will Riley McKay go? He comes up towards the line. He goes fastest by 0.003 of a second. Riley McKay jumps Gregory Prisbill. What a start to Q3 already. Some of the big guns, top 4 of the big guns you'll see in Aussie racing, and now starting to centralise here in Q3 and battle over the pole spot.
Absolutely. What a lap by Riley McKay. 0.003 of a second. Campbell Adams is out as well. Jack Humphries in P4. 108.437, which is nothing to shake your head at. But what a lap by Riley McKay in the Mercedes, followed by the Ferrari as well. We know that Gregory was a little bit frustrated finishing P2 in the qualifying in Saudi. So another lap. Zandvoort's very similar. Without the walls, a lot of twisty turns. You want to get pole position here. You want to get off to a good start. It's a short run to turn 1, 215 metres to be exact. But you want to get off to a good start here in Zandvoort.
Well, I tell you what, folks, you are on the precipice, I think, of seeing brilliance. Already we've seen brilliance. Already, it has to be said. 108.207 to put Riley McKay on top spot. What an astonishing lap. It has to be said. We're now at the midway point here of Q3. So again, get your predictions in. We want to hear from you. Don't forget, get involved. Of course, we are powered by Next Level Racing. An FGT rig could be in your grasp. Remember to enter the code NLR FGT. If you haven't done so already, remember you can use it. You can input the code into the live chat once a stream. So that's 6 streams that you can enter it in. So that's 6 entries, and then we will announce the winner at the end of the final round. Of course, round 6, when of course we go racing then. So be sure to get involved. Be sure to get yourself entered into this competition. It's going to be absolutely tremendous. We have got all the cars pretty much in the pits, but about to get ready for the second half of quali. But I like what I'm seeing so far here, Matthew. We look at some of the numbers that we're looking at here. I mean, if you want to look at some of the deficits, I mean, obviously 3,000s between the top 2 is absolutely sensational. But when you look further down from that, you've got Oscar King with that purple first sector. I mean, had he hooked up the final 2, we'd be looking at Oscar King on the top of the timing tower right now. Jack Humphries also not too far away either. In fact, he was one of the fastest in the final sector, and also one of the faster ones in the middle sector as well, and wasn't too far away in the first sector either. If he shaved off a 10th in that first sector, that would have placed him in the P3 equation. So you know, it's astonishing, it has to be said. But Joshua Lee, the only car out on track, has gone slightly against the grain. He's on an outlap, you know, whilst everyone else is in the pits right now.
Yeah, interesting about Joshua King. Obviously, Joshua Lee, sorry. There's obviously a lot less pressure out there. Without any traffic out there, he has time to warm up his tyres the way that he wants to. But the track will evolve, so he will lose a little bit of pace due to more rubber being put down on the bitumen on the tarmac. But yeah, interesting by Joshua Lee to be out so early.
Yeah, certainly is. Joshua Lee now making his way through the top of the hill, coming out of the left-hander. Of course, the bank corners, they are quite difficult to manage, especially when you're sort of going off camber a little bit. You know, obviously some of the cars, they behave in different ways when you reach those portions of circuit. Obviously, they do apply opportunities for overtaking, but nevertheless, coming through the middle sector, let's see what Joshua Lee can do. And currently, like I say, going against the grain of many others, he's quite fortunate, actually. He's not going to encounter too much traffic. So we'll wait and see. He has got a nice, healthy gap in between he and the Ferrari that sits in front. He's now making his way down the straight, but warming up those tyres again. Next lap will be the fast one, no less. He has got an Alpine coming up in behind. Now, I believe that belongs to Checkered Flag, who currently sits in P10 with a 108.942. No doubt he's going to go a lot faster. So let's wait and see as we now watch them fly through Keith around the final sector, then down the long straight, and we'll see who's now going to go fastest. Every car pretty much out on track. The only one that isn't is Jack Humphries. He's leaving it late in the day as we now watch them get started on their final flying runs. 2 minutes to go, Matthew. Where's it going?
I think it's going to be a really interesting last qualifying. Obviously, keep your eyes on the top 2 in Riley and Gregory. But like you said before, George, don't discount Oscar King or Jack Humphries. Any of those top 4, I think, can take pole position. Campbell Adams, if he hooks up a lap, is definitely in with a shot. And just a reminder for our viewers as well that pole position is on was on the left-hand side of the track, so it's not a nightmare if you're starting P2. You do have the inside line into turn 1, which is a right-hander.
Yeah, well, it's looking like Joshua Lee could be on the precipice of improving even more. 24.174. It's looking solid for him right now. That's not a bad way to start. Obviously, we have seen times that are in the 123, well, should I say in the 23s, the very late 23s, as opposed to the early 24s, but it's still not a bad run here for Joshua Lee whatsoever. Keeping my eyes peeled as to whether there's any further improvements that we're watching out on our timing screen right now. Let's watch them head through the final couple of corners on this lap. Rear wing now opens up, and they burst down the straight. The safety car still out on track as well, looking to go faster than Joshua Lee, but he certainly won't. Joshua Lee hops up one spot here in this case, but we're still waiting on all the others now. Of course, I'd imagine that's probably the best we'll see of Joshua Lee in this qualifying session. We're coming down to the final 40 seconds, and he's already put I believe 3 laps in on these tyres. Yeah, well, it would be the 3rd lap this time around. Yeah. So that the best of that rubber, I would say, has been stripped off.
Absolutely. And just keep your eye on Oscar King here. He's got a really good slipstream on Campbell Adams here. So I imagine he's going to put in an absolute cracking time. He has timed his lap to absolute perfection. Nothing Campbell Adams can do about it. But Oscar King's going to get a really nice slipstream all the way around Zandvoort.
Yeah, no, it's all about this lap now. We've got some improvements already. We've got very late 23s, and I must say checkered flag being one of them as well. F1 Ferrari Pro also finding time. We've got plenty of drivers finding solid improvements. Personal bests as well from Riley McKay and Gregory Prisbill in the first sector. Also personal bests for Campbell Adams. Here comes F1 Ferrari Pro from P9. He will hop up to P6 ahead of Thomas McInnes, who has taken the checkered flag, so he won't improve either. So sit tight. Checkered flag coming next. He's done a 24.213. Oscar King goes purple in the second sector. Checkered flag takes the checkered flag and takes P9. It certainly won't trouble the top end. Oscar King, though, he might trouble it himself. Already now watching him in the Red Bull sprint around the final corner. Riley McKay goes fastest with a 108.202. But Oscar King looking to become the king. He won't become one, though. Stays in P5. It's Riley McKay who takes pole position ahead of the Dutch Grand Prix visit here at Zandvoort here tonight.
What an absolute cracking lap by Riley there to take pole position here. Like it was before, Gregory Prisbill will be starting P2 to try and get that triple crown. He will have the inside lap there, but yeah, P2 is all that Gregory could manage this evening.
Yeah, what a tremendous effort. Riley McKay, fastest in the final session of qualifying. The shootout went his way. A 108.202, 8 thousandths better than Gregory Prisbill in second. Campbell Adams, Jack Humphreys, Oscar King, F1 Ferrari Pro, Websy, Thomas McInnes, Joshua Lee, checkered flag. That is your order ahead of our race coming up very shortly, folks. What a tremendous effort by all concerned. A really sensational qualifying session, but still nonetheless a pleasure to watch. Now, folks, we're going to take a brief break. I'm going to restart the stream. I acknowledge that obviously we've had some issues during the course of the broadcast, so do apologise. I will be working on them very quickly. As I understand it, I think we will have a restart right before we get into the race. So sit tight and we will get it restarted. So back to the commentators indeed. Welcome back, everybody, to the OFI. And after that little quick break, I think things are going to be a little better now. Do apologise. Looks like we had a little bit of a ghost in the machine. And I would like to thank you all, first and foremost, for your patience through qualifying. Appreciate it wasn't the easiest thing to deal with live. I mean, I wasn't sure how bad it was, but apologies, obviously, for those of you who were having some struggles with the broadcast there. But it looks like we're back and we're fully green and healthy. Obviously, just a few glitches with Twitch there. But we are back, ready for the race, the important part of tonight, Matthew. And, off the back of a really frantic qualifying session, we witnessed Riley McKay going fastest as well. I mean, what a performance. It has to be said. Truly gave it his utmost, and this is something we've come to expect from someone as good as Riley McKay, isn't that right, Matthew? And especially when you've got other drivers around, the likes of Gregory Prisbill as well, Jack Humphreys. I mean, that is a statement lap.
Absolutely cracking lap by Riley McKay. I mean, we know we've got it in him. Everyone's trying to shut down Gregory from getting the Triple Crown tonight, currently 22 points ahead. We know in the championship, but with that match quality around you and Oscar King, Jack Humphreys, cracking lap by Riley McKay. It'll be really interesting to see now if he can convert it into a race win.
Yeah, well, let's just say this. That pole lap makes it back-to-back pole positions for Riley McKay in this championship, which is a truly tremendous feat as well. You've got to give him credit for that. That's an additional point that he picks up as well. Remember, you can pick up additional points on top of the scheduled points that you tend to get between Ps1 and Ps10. Remember, we follow the official F1 point system, but if you do obtain that fastest lap and also the pole position, those are additional points that you can grab. So 2 additional points on offer should you grasp both of those. In fact, there was one driver who managed to achieve all of it, and that was Gregory Prisbell in our opening round. Managed to take the pole point, the fastest lap point, on top of the maximum 25 points for the victory.
Yeah, and it just goes to his quality, doesn't it? It absolutely showcases how good this guy is. I said it in qualifying, he's cool as a cucumber. Nothing seems to bother him. He just goes out there, drives a really good race, drives a really good qualifying. And let's not forget, we just had 2 drivers in the 108.2s. I mean, what an event this is. It showcases the best here in Oceania, and we're really hoping that some of these guys can go on and represent Oceania in the top of the esports.
Yeah, as we understand it as well, we did have some issues. Meowsy's internet was having a few issues, but it did look like we were going to start with 19 drivers, but I think he's back now, so it looks like we're going to be okay. But in the meantime, guys, let's have a bit of a reminder as to what our drivers said earlier on. Remember, we spoke to Reese Fisher, who I must say did not have the easiest of qualifying sessions. Remember, got eliminated out of Q2. Let's see what he said. Let's revert back and hear from him leading up to this round 3.
Race Fisher here. The first 2 races were really interesting. Nerves did get the better of me at some points, but 2 Q3s. Can't ask for much more than that. Well, I could have qualified better, but that first race at Bahrain, we lost the train pretty early on, but to come home with a P6 was pretty amazing. And then in Saudi to come from, I think it was P9 on the grid and perform a pretty intense undercuts, take advantage of all the issues that were happening in front to come home with a P4. I couldn't ask for much more for that. It was a pretty insane race to get P4. Sitting P5 in the standings now going into Zandvoort and Monza. Look, yeah, I feel a little bit underprepared for it, but it is what it is, you know what I mean? You perform your way on the day. Zandvoort, I'm not a big fan of. I don't like the bumps. I know a lot of people like it, but I am really looking forward to Monza. I love Monza. Yes, it can be a bit chaotic, but hey, where there's chaos, there's opportunity. So that's what I've got to take advantage of, just like I did in Saudi. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the rest of the next championship and looking forward to showing how these older guys can do it too. See you later.
Probably didn't go the way I was hoping. In Bahrain, I wasn't really expecting too much, and I ended up getting Q3, I believe, and also a point. So at the start of the day, if you said I got a point on the board, I would have been quite happy, but I was actually fighting for 7th or even 6th, I think, on the day. So I think I finished just behind 6th place, only 2nd or 2 behind. So if you look at it that way, I feel like it could have had more points, but at the end of the day, Bahrain was pretty good. And for Jeddah was actually something I circled. Jeddah was actually something I circled for the calendar as maybe my best chance to get points. Jeddah is one of my top 3 pace-wise circuits of the game, and even though I think I qualified 7th, which was, I think that'll be my best qualifying all throughout the whole of this OFI campaign. And in the race, I was fighting really well with the top guys, and then I got a bit of damage early on, and my race just derailed from there, which is really disappointing because some of the guys I was battling with, I think the 2 guys that qualified in front of me ended up getting 3rd and 4th in the race, and I think I could have battled with them all the way through. So it was a bit disappointing, to say the least, but we have to move on.
So there we have it, just hearing from a couple of the drivers looking ahead now to the race. And, we're just about to get started now, folks. Obviously just waiting for the drivers to line up onto the grid. But, yeah, looking forward to it. Just hearing from both of those drivers that we have witnessed already through the course of this championship, picking up decent, solid points, obviously running into these races. We've got to give credit where credit's due. Obviously, Reese Fisher, someone who is part of that older category, Matthew, but it doesn't deter his ability, in this case, and someone who definitely has the raw talent to obviously compete against some of the very best that the Oceania has to offer. You can't write him off, can you?
No, he's one of those. He's one of those guys who just gets in, will race a hard race. He's one of those dark horses. I think it would be interesting to see what he can do tonight. And just a reminder as well that Al Karudin is starting from P20. So yeah, what a surprise.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. You can just see as well, folks, we're actually, I'm looking at my weather report here, and we are expecting some changeable conditions here for this race.
Oh, yes.
I'm looking at it on my screen right now. There is high percentage chances of rain, 89% as of now. Looking onwards, we have 79%. It starts to sort of peter off. In about half an hour's time, we get to a point where it's around 22%. So that is when they might be flirting with the idea of the dry tyre. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, no one knows where it's going to go. So we could see a huge twist here in this race here this evening. So make sure you stay tuned. You don't want to miss a beat. Let us know in the live chat, folks. We want to hear from you. Who's taking victory tonight in round 3 of the OFI? And I'm going to go to you first, Matthew. Before we hear from the chat, let me know who's your man for tonight.
I can't go past Gregory. You know, I said I do love a dark horse. If I go with my head, it's going to be Gregory. If I go with my heart, I'd love to see the likes of Oscar King get up or Campbell Adams, someone like that.
Well, now we watch the cars get set, ready to race here at Zandvoort, and it's pedal to the metal, and it's go, 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 go. Riley McKay got caught at the start. His teammate goes past him. Gregory Prisbill, the double race winner. He leads the championship, but he won't lead this race. It's Campbell Adams, the sister Mercedes, to Riley McKay, who leads heading through turn 3, and he rushes through to the middle sector. Jack Humphreys moves up to 3rd. Riley McKay down in 4th now after starting on pole position. A disaster start there for McKay with F1 Ferrari Pro down in P6. Checkered flag also getting into the mix, and the two Hasses are going wheel to wheel heading through sector 2.
What a start, and what a start from Checkered Flag, up 2 positions. He was an absolute jet off the starting line. Reaction time was absolutely fantastic. Sebastian Spicer for Alpine as well weaved through on the starting line and was up into P11 by turn 2.
Yeah.
What a start by those guys.
And Riley McKay as well. He's getting closed up on by Oscar King. This hasn't been an ideal start, has it, for him? Riley McKay under huge pressure, Matthew.
Yeah, starting pole position in the Mercedes, just did not have the great start. He has to try and sort of sit in now, try and gain some pace, and yeah, he'll definitely want to get back up there. But Campbell Adams, what a start by him in the Mercedes. He was one to watch. I know he's been practicing now over his second in front. Crucial to get out of that DRS zone.
Yeah, also crucial, Jack Humphreys to get ahead of Gregory Prisbill, because Humphreys is on the medium tyres. He can't afford to stay behind those on the hards. It will, of course, cause a stir in terms of his strategy. He needs to be given the clean air so he can stay in touch with Campbell Adams. But just look at that gap. Adams advancing because Humphreys was staggered behind Prisbill. He's advanced that advantage out to 1.1. He's broken DRS.
Yeah, absolutely crucial here at Zandvoort. Humphreys is going to have to try and get up the road and try and get in that DRS as quick as possible. Otherwise, Campbell Adams can really run away with it. Depending on when the rain comes, it's going to be super, super interesting to see if the medium tyres can make it. Really interesting with changing weather conditions, George.
Yeah, certainly is. Thomas McKinnon is also under pressure because here comes Sebastian Spicer, and he's going to throw a spicy move coming into the chicane, heading out of turn 11 and turn 12. Fantastic for the Alpine. Now moves up into 10th, disposing of the hard tyres belonging to Thomas McInnes, who's now down into P11. So it just goes to show the medium tyre in this initial, while the hard isn't a bad race tyre, the medium's just carrying that extra little bit of pace that the drivers need, perhaps, in this race. Got some more wheel-to-wheels as well, with Abyss now going side-by-side with McJammy Dodge as they go side-by-side coming through turn 1. Both of these on the hard tyres, so no benefits in terms of actual tyre performance here, but still at the same time, it's all about going as high as you can in this opening stint. It will help you in the closing stages of the race. Just look at that, Karma F1 getting caught behind McJammy Dodge. They now run side-by-side, coming through that middle sector, heading down the hill at Schleviat corner, and yes, Karma shows McJammy Dodge the Karma here this time, heading through lap 3, Karma F1 up to 13th.
Yeah, what a move by Karma. As you said, George, on the faster tyre, on those medium tyres, now needs to try and clear Abyss and McInnes as quick as possible. Abyss has got a lot of speed in a straight line, struggling a little bit in the corners.
Yeah, does definitely seem to be the case. Obviously, at Zandvoort, the corners are quite punishing, and you go from extraordinarily fast to extraordinarily slow in a split second. Looking at the top of the shop, Jack Humphreys really working hard to bring that gap down. He's trying to get back within DRS. Obviously, that will help him in the battle for the lead. Karma once again getting caught in behind, this time a Haas. And we have got Plebs looking to try and overtake Websy for P8. Checkered flag on the move for P9 as he goes side by side with F1 Ferrari Pro, wheel to wheel between the Alpine and the Ferrari. But checkered flag, may not be the checkered flag yet, but making all the right moves and dances ahead of F1 Ferrari Pro, who now drops to 7. Thomas McInnes under pressure because Websy now is on his tail, but McInnes holding on to P10.
Yeah, going into turn 1 there, the Alpine and Spicer and Websy did make a little bit of contact, and that's why Websy did sort of ghost there a little bit, and Thomas McInnes came through. So Websy losing a couple of positions and contact between the Alpine and the Kicksauber into turn 1.
McInnes has gone off. He's had a huge tank slapper through the middle sector. We saw him just dip into the gravel. It looked like a little bit of understeer, and unfortunately for him, he's dropped to the rear of the field. Yellow flags in that middle sector. He mentioned that he didn't have the easiest time in the last race. He did retire from that last race as well at Jeddah, but I tell you what, that is not an ideal place to be, especially on lap 4.
Abyss as well, George also having a bit of trouble, had a bit of a spin down in P19 as well. So Abyss losing 6 positions, was up to P12, doing really well, and now down to P19 will join Thomas down the back.
Well, we've got Gregory Prisball, who we're currently riding on board with as well. He's on the tail here of Jack Humphreys. And Humphreys, whilst he was fighting to get to within DRS of Campbell Adams, Adams has managed to turn the screw and really advanced the delta in between he and the man in P2 this time. So this is great news for the Mercedes, and I would say great news to a certain extent for Gregory Prisball, because this will allow him to really attack Humphreys, who is going to have no DRS to defend himself with, and Prisball can use it himself, either heading down the long straight out of turn 14 or heading down the straight leading through towards turn 11. Let's wait and see what he decides to do. Will he plumb for the attack this time? It makes no sense to wait him behind because he needs to gain on the back of Campbell Adams. But the one thing that Gregory Prisball does have in his favour, which might help him towards the end of the stint here, Matthew, is that he is on that hard tyre.
Yeah, absolutely. The hard tyre is going to go long. I think Gregory just needs to sit in. He's going to get a bit of DRS. He doesn't have to hurt his tyres too much in this stint. I mean, the only risk is Campbell Adams out in front. Currently 1.6 seconds ahead. Doesn't want to let him out too much. But as we say that, Gregory Prisball does make the move and up into P2. And Jack Humphreys loses a couple of positions as we see Jack Humphreys and Riley go wheel to wheel. Nearly made contact. But they've come through and they're still going for it. And Riley McKay down to P4. Jack Humphreys P3 in the Williams.
And Oscar King watching it all unfold as well. They got so close together. How on earth did they not lose it? Heading up the soiree, coming through turns 1, 2 and 3. Bravery for both contenders, but naturally it could have gone from bravery to stupidity and ended up into the barrier, but in this case it wasn't. And Jack Humphreys now holds on to third. Riley McKay, though, asking all the major questions, but bear in mind he of course started on pole position, did not have the easiest of race starts, dropped down through the field, just spun up the rear tyres, and at the end of the day it swallowed up any advantage he had out of Q3 in qualifying, and all fell apart. But at least his teammate leads the way.
And I think you've got to be careful, don't you? When you have a great pole position lap like Riley McKay and you don't have a great start, frustration can start to creep in. You can start making these moves on Jack Humphreys like that, but you've got to remember you're on the hard tyre. You're going to go longer. Be patient. The race is going to come to you.
Yeah, well, Jack Humphreys can't afford to be patient here at this point. He's on the medium tyres, needs to make the most of them here. Waiting in the wheel tracks of Gregory Prisball on the run in towards turn 1, and he's towing along Riley McKay and Oscar King for the privilege as well. Websy also doing battle this time with Sebastian Spicer. Spicer on the return manages to try and switch back, just coming out of turn 1 in an attempt to try and dodge past the Kicksauber, who runs a little wide of the apex, coming through turn 3. But certainly nothing that would necessarily concern losing P10. But the big costly factor is that he is now very nearly lost DRS on Karma, who is, by all intents and purposes, lost DRS well and truly on F1 Ferrari Pro, and again running wide Sebastian Spicer, and that's going to open the door for McJammy Dodge to enter the fold, and again almost a similar thing to what we saw happen to Thomas McInnes. Sebastian Spicer locking up the tyres, heading through towards the right-hander, coming through turn 9, and has forfeited a bucket load of places.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly the same. Like you said, Thomas McKinnon dipped his toe in the gravel there, and then him doing the exact same thing, losing a lot of positions there. And as we see there, two packs starting to emerge now as well. The pack down to F1 Ferrari Pro, and then it's 3.3 seconds back to Karma.
Yeah, and also we got a 3-wide scrap now as once again Jack Humphries on the attack, moves into second, and also Gregory Prisbill now has dropped to third. Riley McKay in fourth as well. Oscar King in the fight here as well in the scrap over P2. Now, whilst all this is all fine and well, they have now dislodged themselves even further away from P1's Campbell Adams. It's 2.1 seconds. So whilst all this fighting over P2 might bring you some decent P2 points, you're sacrificing the win here.
Yeah, absolutely. Campbell Adams doing everything he needs to do. 2.1 seconds ahead on that medium tyre as well. Absolute cracking start from Campbell Adams. He'll be looking to go on and take this win.
Definitely will. Running on board here with Riley McKay on the run down out of turn 10. Now DRS opens up for him. Now once again Jack Humphries is going to be a sitting duck heading down into the chicane as we ride on board here with the Mercedes that started on pole position. Not an easy start, as we said, for Riley McKay. As he now heads through into the double right-hander. Now looking to open up that throttle once more. Fastest lap currently going Campbell Adams' way, so if it finishes that way, he will pick up an additional point. Of course, Mercedes will also hold on to an additional point with the pole position that Riley McKay took. And here comes Gregory Prisbill and also Riley McKay on the inside. A double overtake of sorts here. 2 places lost here for Jack Humphries potentially, who is still going to dig deep and fight back as the Mercedes-powered Williams looks to throw it up the inside to try and challenge Riley McKay this time through the top of the hill. McKay sinks here at Zandvoort, moves up to third ahead of Jack Humphries. Prisbill now 6.5 tenths clear in P2.
What a move by Riley McKay there to come into P3. Exactly what he needs to do on the hard tyre there. And Oscar King in the Red Bull is just sitting behind here looking to pick off these battles. Racing a really smart race, Oscar King is. Don't put him out of it on the hard tyre right in this race. Oscar King in the Red Bull.
Yeah, truly tremendous. Yeah, here to see. And Oscar King forced to wait in behind and just watch. He's got the best view in the house, though, it has to be said. Would probably prefer to be in the midst of this fight and profiteering off the back of all this chaos. But remember, he is on the hard tyres, so he can go longer than anybody else. It's really intriguing, Matthew, is it not? Because, of course, Campbell Adams is on the medium tyres. Don't get me wrong. He is leading the race. But strategy could be his undoing here as we now watch Riley McKay challenge Gregory Prisbill once more. Coming down in towards turn 1. Also coming into the fight now, Oscar King. Very nearly 3 wide. Oh! Goodness me, Prisbill championship leader sent sideways coming through turn 1, met Jack Humphries as well as Oscar King, who moves up into third as a consequence, so he moves up 2 places. Humphries in 4th, Prisbill down in 5th.
What, I mean, I can't believe Prisbill caught that. And as we're talking about that, Prisbill just overtakes Jack Humphries on the hard tyre as easy as you like, but it doesn't look like Gregory has any damage. Catches that spin, currently P4. Amazing that he's still in the race, George.
Yeah, it is phenomenally. He's phenomenally fortunate, and he's fortunate to remain within DRS as well, it has to be said. You know, it could have gone a lot worse here for Jack Humphries and for Gregory Prisbill. And obviously those two coming together once more as we watch them come down into the chicane once again. You can just see the rear lights flashing on the cars. Now, obviously, that's not the rain lights just yet. Of course, we are expecting rain to come down. But at the moment, the actual conditions have changed. We're actually on 15% expectant rain. So we're in fact not expected to see rain now for another 15 minutes. So it's changed already in this initial as checkered flag now goes up the inside of Riley McKay this time. So he's entering the fold. The Alpine now up to 5th. Riley McKay down in 6th.
What a race by checkered flag. We said he had a great qualifying. It must be a strong track for him in Zandvoort. Riley McKay losing 3 positions down turn 14 there on that last lap. So Mercedes were 1-2 and now Riley McKay down in position 6th before the DRS zone.
Yeah, F1 Ferrari Pro also coming into this fight too. He's right behind Plebs. And I could just say, Plebs has been quietly working away, kind of, you know, almost stealth-like, ninja-like. He's been in stealth mode for the last 11 laps and has just kind of just dragged himself along in behind these front runners and is currently on the back of Riley McKay. Now, the one benefit this does have is that he hasn't worked his tyres all that much. And he's on mediums, so he has got some pace behind him. They will go a little bit longer. So this could work out. This could be a good race here for Plebs. He might have a huge opportunity here to score some solid points.
Yeah, great race by Plebs on that medium tyres, George. And someone else who's been stealthy as well on the hard tyres is Al Kalarudin. So up into P11 now is the Mercedes driver. We know he didn't have a great qualifying, only got one lap in, finished P20, but we see him come down the start-finish line now. He's going to get another position up on the Williams. Al Kalarudin goes P10, just sticks in behind Webster and goes, thank you very much. Nearly makes contact into turn 1, but that's Al Kalarudin up into P10 for the McLaren.
And we said what a shock it was off the back of qualifying as to how Al Kalarudin started, or at least finished where he did at the end of the first session in Q1. And now he's starting to work his way through the field. It just goes to show it's not necessarily all about quali pace. It's what you do in the actual race that counts. At the end of the day, poles for show, and it's points for dough, essentially. And that's exactly what Al Kalarudin's thinking here, because if you look at the other end of the spectrum, Riley McKay, who did score the pole position, well, he's forfeited 5 places since the start of this race. So it doesn't necessarily mean that if you go on pole, you're going to take victory and you're going to take maximum points through the course of the night. So credit to Al Kalarudin, a spirited performance, and could yet be in line for driver of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if he keeps going the way he does, he's on the hard tyre. He's going to go long. The medium tyre is a lot quicker. How much quicker? We're going to find out later in the race. They're going to have a lot less fuel, as we see Oscar Kinko up to P2 past Gregory down that main straight with the DRS. They change position as well, and Al Kalarudin finally gets over Websy up into P9, and now he's out of a bit of traffic. Hopefully he can get some clean air and start to close this gap between them and the front runners. Currently 5.6 seconds. He's got some work to do, though.
Well, if they keep battling, he'll have every chance to close that gap, but we'll wait and see. Obviously, it's still too early to tell. 49% chance of rain in about 10 minutes. We are seeing a spike on the weather radar at the moment. It does hop up in terms of percentage chance of rain and then very quickly slams back down again. So I tell you what, in terms of tyre changes here at this stage, Matthew, if that does come to fruition, I mean, what a lottery.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, for the medium runners now with that rain forecast, I mean, what do you do? It's going to be a gamble if you stay out and wait for the rain, or do you come in and just do your race strategy and get caught with the crossover? But obviously at the moment, I'd rather be on the hard tyre strategy, go long, wait for the rain. If there's no rain, then you're obviously in prime position.
Yeah, well, we're right on board here with Riley McKay this time, heading down the long straight. He's a tenth or so behind. Gregory Prisbill now moves up to second, and further back we now have the move here being brought to us by Riley McKay, heading in towards turn 1, and does move up the inside of Checkered Flag and takes P5, with now the Alpine staggered down in 6th, with Plevs joining him just in behind too. Now Al Kalarudin not gaining any time. Since we last checked, he's lost a whole second on the back of F1 Ferrari Pro. So obviously with the power of DRS that Ferrari Pro will have under his belt, Al Kalarudin doesn't have that. So therefore he will not be able to gain much more in the long home straight.
Yeah, and someone else is having a bit of a tough time today is Reese Fisher. So Reese Fisher, obviously P5 in the championship at the moment. Currently finds himself down in P14. And I've just watched in the last couple of laps. He's just not having a great time out there. He can't get a good racing line. He's bumping into drivers. He's sort of dipping his tyres in and out of the grass. So hopefully Reese Fisher can sort of get it together, because he has got a bit of pace when he finds his line. Yeah,
his best lap as well is a 1:11.9, which if we compare it to the fastest lap that we've seen, that was, of course, brought together by Campbell Adams, our race leader. And Campbell Adams, incidentally, now on this current lap, despite not having DRS, lapping in the 1:12s as we now watch Oscar King move up to second, Gregory Prisbill down to third now, with Jack Humphreys in fourth, still Riley McKay in fifth as well. I mean, what a fight it's been between between P2 and P6. It's been stellar to watch. F1 Ferrari Pro also losing out to Plebs to a certain degree as well, just trying to gain on the back of the RB. The two Italian constructors coming together, one from Faenza, one from Maranello, of course, and they're both trying to hunt down after the Alpine of Checkered Flag, who hail from Enstone in the UK. But further back, Al Kalarudin now starting to try and gain on the back of Websy. And as you can see, 6.6 seconds now between Websy and F1 Ferrari Pro. Al Kalarudin facing a little bit of pressure as well from McJammy Dodge. You just don't know where this is going to go here at this point, Matthew. There is literally a huge battle out there right now, and it just seems to me that there's a bit of inconsistency. Yellow flags in the middle sector, and I think that's Yusuf Goat. Is that Yusuf Goat who's at a moment, or was it Sebastian Spicer? No, it was Reese Fisher.
Reese, yeah. Yeah, Reece Fisher had a bit of an issue in the middle sector. We did call it. He's been dipping his tyres in and out, had a bit of a spin, now down into P19 as we see Al Karudin go up to P9 once more, gets past Websy in that DRS zone. He needs to try and get away. Websy's doing a really, really good job in that kick-sauber.
He is doing a tremendous job, is Websy, at the moment. And, of course, if he finishes where he does, that will be, or where he is, I should say, that will be 1 point going to his championship. And like I said, points mean prizes. It doesn't matter how many you get, as long as you maximise your output, then you're bound to be in with a chance of at least doing something in this championship. But as it stands, Gregory Prisbill only 1.7 seconds away. Now this is intriguing, because remember, the gap was well beyond 2 seconds. Prisbill going to work in terms of the delta right now, and I can tell you that he was faster than Campbell Adams in that first sector. If you want to talk about the last lap, he was 4.5 tenths faster of the realm to Campbell Adams in that last lap alone. So in about 3 laps time, we're starting to see the hards come into their own now, Matthew. They are now faster than the mediums.
Yeah, absolutely. The medium tyres has come off quite a lot. I mean, Gregory Prisbill and Oscar King, they're just trading DRS. I think they've worked it out as well. And there are drops. There are drops on the screen. So here we go.
Yeah, here we go indeed. Lap 17, Oscar King now moves up into second. So the rain that we were expecting has officially arrived, and it only shows signs of getting worse, everybody. Over the next 10 to 15 minutes, we're going to see it getting heavier and heavier and heavier. And now it's down to the drivers to try and manage this as best as they can, because this is another complication to add to the mix. They've been fighting each other tooth and nail in this, well, between P2 to P7, and now we're seeing it all unfold. Plebs has managed to get past checkered flag as well. He's dropped down to 7th. He's now disconnected by +2 seconds off the back of Riley McKay as well. So now we're starting to see all these drivers formulate now here out on circuit. This rain is going to cause a stir.
Yeah, and this crossover is going to be super, super interesting. I mean, this has absolutely killed the advantage that the guys had on the hard
tires. Look at Adams,
tires.
1 second.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic for Campbell Adams here on that medium tyres as well at the front. So fantastic for the rain, good for the medium tyre runners. It'll be really interesting second half of the race now.
Well, I mean, he's forfeited the delta. He's now lost DRS. I mean, I am wondering when that DRS is going to be disabled, because if this rain does get worse, as we preempted, then there's a good chance that Campbell Adams could forfeit this lead advantage. So his race has ultimately been turned upside down here in this case. So it's now thrown a bone to Oscar King, to Gregory Prisbill, Jack Humphreys, Riley McKay, who lost out at the very start. And just look at that, an illustration of the struggles out there on track. Checkered flag, very nearly losing the car coming out of the bank corners. And those bank sections are going to be even worse now the greasier this circuit gets.
Yeah, Oscar King also having a little bit of a moment into turn 2 and 3, so super slippery out there at the moment. They are absolutely tiptoeing around. I would imagine that they're going to come in this lap as we see F1 Ferrari Pro get past checkered flag as well.
Well, heading down now towards turn 11, lap 18 of 36. We are at the halfway point here of this race at Zandvoort. 2 different tyre compounds in the top 2 places. Both of them are slicks, none of them are wets. And already now, as we watch them come through now, the final couple of corners, will there be pit stops here at this point? That is the big bold question. Campbell Adams, does he come in? No, then none of them are coming in. They're all staying out. They're deciding not to occupy intermediate tyres. And Oscar King is on the tail of current race leader Campbell Adams in a battle for P1 supremacy. The race is on with just over another 18 laps to go here at Zandvoort.
The only thing I can think of is that they've got more information than we have. Maybe it's a light shower that's going to go away, but the medium tyres looks like they're... Yeah, they look like the medium tyres look like they're absolutely done. So here we go. The crossover is in. MC Jammy is in. Karma's in. And Yusuf Goat as well.
Yeah, quite a string of drivers now. 6 of them in the pits, changing into intermediate tyres, removing the prior mediums. And it looks like Big Man Rye, I think, has made a mistake, because he has opted for fresh mediums. That is surely not a preemptive move. That has got to be an error for the Kick Sauber.
Oh, the reserve, absolute nightmare, putting on those fresh medium tyres. He would be absolutely spewing. Big man Rye, that is heartbreaking.
That is absolutely heartbreaking. And look at this, speaking of heartbreaking, Campbell Adams with the huge advantage that he had at the start of the race. It has dissipated and he's very nearly lost it all because Oscar King is on his tail and they still have DRS. But coming into the pits comes Campbell Adams. He knows that if he stays out, he's going to lose more time. He could lose a position, instead opting to come into the box. Riley McKay is staying out. He is not coming in. My guess is that he's going to try and ride this out because he knows there's improvements just around the corner. So I think he's just going to bank on this. Just try and hold on to his tyres right now. And hopefully when the drier conditions come into play, his tyres are better than the Inters.
Yeah, well, I've been looking at Mick Jammy or MC Jammy going around. He's not doing too much faster than he was on the dry tyres. It is a little bit quicker, but really interesting by Riley McKay and Plez to be staying out.
Yeah, really intriguing. My guess is that he wanted to... Oh, here comes the DRS disabled. So there you have it. We are well and truly in wet weather conditions. And a retirement from big man Rye. He had a 10-second time penalty entering the pit lane as well. So this could either go one or two ways. It's either Riley McKay stayed out to avoid the double stack, or he's avoided coming into the pits because he feels that we will be getting drier sooner rather than later. Plebs has also stayed out as well. So let's wait and see what Riley McKay decides to do this time. Let's watch them head through the final couple of corners now. Riley McKay for the Mercedes outfit. Remember, starting on pole at the beginning of this race, lost a fleet of positions, and yes, he comes into the pit. Will he be on intermediate tyres? I can't see him not selecting intermediate tyres, so let's watch. Yes, Inter's now being strapped on, being bolted on to the Mercedes car, and Plevs coming in to make the same choice. Where is his teammate Campbell Adams? He'll blast past the pit lane down towards turn one, and forfeiting a lot of time is Riley McKay. You might have suspected the double stack would have been kinder.
Yeah, I think you're right there, George. He's going to lose a lot of positions coming out here, and it's gone from bad to worse for Riley McKay. Obviously starting in pole position, losing 3 positions off the line, and it's been a bit of a nightmare for him ever since. He does come out in P5 though, so not terrible, but 4 seconds behind Jack Humphries and 6 seconds behind the leader.
And that's going to be time in these conditions that he's going to be very difficult to find back. So it very much seems that the task is quite great. Reese Fisher's retired as well. He's brought an end to his race. We've alluded to his struggles, and he had a lot of promise, didn't he, coming into this? We heard his interview. I mean, that is just a desperate scenario for Reese Fisher. Coming into the box, retiring straight away. A bad day for Reese Fisher. First time out of the points this season.
Yeah, first time out of the points. I mean, poor Reese, I think he was a bit of a crowd favourite. He was struggling on the dry tyres as well. And then obviously it just went from bad to worse and called it a day.
Yeah, well, we're on board here with Oscar King at this stage as well. Now starting to make his way around the final corner here at turn 14 this time. No DRS to help him along, so Campbell Adams still has an advantage. But what this has done, it has brought a close fight here for the race lead and by consequence the race win. The rain lights now starting to flash on the back of the cars with the droplets falling from the skies, but what was only mere drops has now turned into a slight downpour as we watch them come through the first bank corner, coming through Hugenholtz box and then out of the Hunter rug through towards the slot maker box as well, and down towards Schleviak corner as well, before then reaching Master's box, coming through towards turn 9 as we now watch them head through this right-hander at turn 9 now through towards turn 10, and then head down the straight. Just look at this, Oscar King. I think he's coping with these wet conditions better, and up the inside. Oh, brilliant move from Oscar King. That was fabulous. He took full advantage of Campbell Adams' mistake, did not need the DRS. It's always magnificent to see a move in the corners, and Oscar King is well and truly the king here on lap 22 here at Zandvoort.
Can Oscar King be the king of Zandvoort at the end of 36 laps? Like you said, George, what a move by Oscar King. That's a slight error by Campbell Adams, caught sleeping. As you said, George, Oscar King does look a lot more confident in the wet, but here comes Campbell Adams down the straight. He's got a bit more straight line speed, but not enough. Oscar King stays out in P1.
Yeah, he certainly does on the exit though, turn one. He's going to try the switchback heading uphill. Surely you don't want to do it here, especially in these greasy, slick conditions. And now has a look to the outside. Oscar King ran a little deeper coming in towards turn 2 and on the run up towards turn 3, but it was enough for King to hold on to the race lead so far as we now watch them come through over the top of the hill, through the crest, down the hill this time around before venturing out of Sloviak at turn 8 in towards turn 9. Just see those rears spinning on the back of Campbell Adams' car, but this time he can pick alternate lines to Oscar King, so the pressure now is on King as opposed to Adams here at this point during the race, as they now visit the very point where Oscar King took the race lead only a lap ago.
Oh, what a battle we're seeing here between Red Bull and Mercedes. The other good battle going on has been going on all day in the dry and in the wet is Al Karoun and Websy. Last lap they went wheel to wheel around 5 corners through turns 2 and 3, and then through in the sector 3 through turns 11 and 12. Al Karoun coming out on top, staying in P12, but he cannot shake the kick Sauber.
No, certainly can't. This time Oscar King has got a little bit of a gap to obviously look after and nurse, and this could yet be an extraordinary performance here on hand here for Oscar King, who is certainly no stranger to big results, as I said. Represented many teams in the past, but at the moment is looking after his own affairs at Veloce Academy alongside the likes of Gregory Prisball, who currently sits in 3rd, of course, championship leader here in the OFI so far, as we now watch them come over the hill and then head down through towards sector 2 proper, where they meet turn 7 and turn 8 down the hill. Now this of course is extraordinarily treacherous, especially in these conditions where of course you are nursing along these intermediate tyres, the groove tyres, in a bid to find any grip possible, and those curbs, they're going to be oh so slick. And now it looks like, if anything, Adams is at the mercy here of Prisball as opposed to attacking Oscar King, though he did take a very nice line coming through turn 10.
Yeah, Campbell's got to be careful here. He's got some defending to do against Gregory Prisball here, and it's exactly what Oscar King would like to happen. So Campbell Adams in the hunt down for Oscar King has to be obviously careful of the threat behind in Gregory. And just down below, we've got a 4-way battle between Jamie, Joshua Lee, Karuden, and Wemsey gearing up pretty well here.
Yep, certainly do. They head down the long straight. There's battles all across this timing tower right now. Campbell Adams now following Oscar King once more, heading in towards turn 1. No move this time, coming in towards the first corner here at Tarzan Bocht, but heading uphill now through turn 2 and very shortly turn 3 as well. It's going to remain as they were over the prior laps. Now taking a look at the rain data, we are going to see an immense drop-off in the next 10 to 15 minutes. Now that will mean that it'll come towards the very bitter end of this race. So we could yet be in for yet more drama before this race is up. We've got just over 10 to 11 laps remaining here in this fight over round 3 in this OFI Championship. The very best in the business from the Oceanic regions coming together as they look to fight over Oceanic supremacy. And at this moment in time, it's Oscar King and Zandvoort who reigns supreme at this circuit, but he's still got a long way to go to tackle the supremacy in terms of the championship that is currently being honed by Gregory Prisball, as the 3 drivers at the head of the order come together, coming through the chicane at turns 11 and 12, and very shortly around the final couple of corners they will then begin lap 26 with 10 laps to go to decide the fate of round 3.
Yeah, and we are seeing the best of the best in the Oceania region tonight. Obviously, we had a cracking qualifying with a 108.2 by 2 drivers. And we had Riley McKay starting off on pole position, currently down in P5. Other battles going on down in P9 for the minor placings. Plevs is looking to put a move on Karma down the main straight now. Obviously without DRS in the wet, he's a little bit faster down the straight line, but it doesn't look like it's going to open up just yet. But Plevs is on the hunt against Karma for P8.
Yeah, it got very close between Campbell Adams and Oscar King again coming in towards turn 1 as we now watch them fly downhill, heading through turns 8 and turns 9. Very shortly, oh, in comes Gregory Prisball. He spied an opportunity coming through the Sloviak and finds the way as well. But back comes now Campbell Adams, who chucks his Mercedes at the inside. We got Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes, but the Ferrari moves up in a second. Championship leader Gregory Prisball moves up into second now and flies down through towards turns 11 and 12. And he now hunts down Oscar King in a battle for the lead this time. Campbell Adams Adams forced to wallow in behind with a 1.8 to 2 seconds to now 2.2 second gap to Jack Humphries in P4.
What a move by Gregory. Absolute class by him. He shows us why he is the championship leader in the Ferrari. Great move by Gregory, though. Campbell Adams on his backside, down the main straight, looking to get a move done around the outside. Gregory tries to close him off, keeps his line, stays on the inside, and can't get the job done. Campbell Adams is going to have to sit in behind. You're going to have to be craftier than that to get past Gregory.
He certainly does, and he tried it again, did Campbell Adams, to try and retake the place back that he lost heading through turn 1, but wasn't able to do it. The tenacity, the sheer audacity of one Gregory Prisbill, obviously reigning confidence here on top of the rain that is falling from the clouds here at Zandvoort, but gets that rear stepped out heading down through turn 8 and in towards turn 9 as well. Extraordinary moments here already. We're on lap 27 of 36, folks, and still plenty of time left for a twist and turn. Not to say we haven't had enough of those already here around Zandvoort, but there's plenty more to come, that's for sure. Once more, the rain is looking like it's going to dissipate very soon. Sit tight. The drama, I don't think, is quite over just yet. Oscar King, despite holding on to this race lead, has now got Prisbill hunting him down as we watch the three drivers, the three of the top constructors in the world of Formula One, now coming together in a fight over the lead of the race. This is truly sensational to watch as they now rush down the straight this time around. Campbell Adams 4/10 away from the back of Prisbill's Ferrari, will not be in a position to challenge heading through turn 1 this time, but you'll have to be patient. Patience is a virtue in this situation as Riley McKay and Jack Humphries come wheel to wheel heading through turn 1 here, Matthew.
Yeah, Riley and Jack, they just about lock up. There is a little bit of contact into the Mercedes side pod as the Williams comes through on the outside. More contact as Jack Humphries loses a little bit of traction and Riley McKay bumps his way through up into P4. It wasn't pretty, but it got the job done. It is Riley McKay up into P4.
Well, there's nothing pretty here, racing in these conditions, and contact all the way through the first sector between Riley McKay and Jack Humphries. Certainly no love lost between these two, that's for sure. And once again on display, this time at the Dutch Grand Prix circuit, first harbouring Grand Prix racing back in 1950, where the Dutch Grand Prix first began, as we now watch them head through turn 9, heading down towards turn 10. And turn 11 very shortly, but it has to be said, what a fight across this grid. The top three still remain within a second of one another. Oscar King, despite leading the way, in fact, Oscar King, you must say, brilliant performance so far, has done brilliantly just to nurse this 0.8 of a second gap that has shown no signs of ending here at this stage, and Prisbill has no DRS to help his cause.
Yeah, Gregory's going to have to get some driving done if he wants to get the Triple Crown tonight. Remember, he won the first 2 races of this championship battle, looking to go after the Triple Crown. But at the moment, Oscar King looks like he does have it in the bag.
Yeah, he's looking strong. It has to be said, and I have to give credit where credit's due. What a performance by Oscar King so far, but also Gregory Prisbill, that move, I mean, that's got to be up there for moving the race. I mean, we've seen a few of them so far, this race so far. I mean, absolutely splendid to see, and this is what we've come to expect from such talents. It has to be said, and I'll keep on preaching it until this race is over. It is extraordinary.
Oh, preach it, brother.
You know, well, absolutely. I mean, let's have a look at this now, though. We've got 7 laps to go. The rain is still tumbling down. Oscar King still leads. Further back, Gregory Prisbill in second has managed to bring that gap down ever so slightly, and he'll keep bringing it down. Of course, as he makes his way through the corners, it just does seem to me that as Prisbill starts to settle, he can then focus his attentions really on that race lead advantage. Remember, we still have 7 laps to go. It'll be 6 come the end of this lap. So, you know, there's still an opportunity here for Prisbill. He can just be a little patient. These conditions warrant patience, don't they?
Absolutely. I mean, you've only got half a second. As you see, they close up into turn 1 there. You're going to have a little bit of tyre degradation as well on the intermediate, so concentration levels have to be super high in these conditions. As we've seen, as Gregory made the move on Campbell, one little mistake is all it takes. Opens the door for one of these drivers to come through and take the win in this race. It is up for grabs between the top 3. Anything can happen from here on out.
It definitely can, and I'm just having a look here at my telemetry. It really, the telemetry line, I'm looking at my radar, it's dramatically dropping. The percentage chance of rain is decreasing immensely by the moment. So I'm wondering how soon that's going to happen. I mean, I'm looking at it now. every 5 minutes sees a rapid decline in wet weather. So we could be dry very soon. So let's wait and see.
It looks dry. It looks like, sorry to cut you off there. It does look like it's drying up, especially around turns 7 and 8. There doesn't look like there are many drops at all on that side of the track.
Yeah, well, there you go. So now the strategy discussion now comes into play again. So, this puts pressure on Oscar King because he's going to have to be the one to make the first call. So let's wait and see. Obviously, I'm not sure. If you're Oscar King, you're not wanting to sacrifice track position, are you?
Surely it's follow the leader at this point. With 5 laps to go, I think if Oscar King comes in, Gregory and Campbell probably have to come in. They can gamble and stay out, but I think Oscar King has to make a decision in the next couple of laps. I'm not sure if coming in is going to be the best strategy here.
No, it looks like the window of opportunity really on soft tyres. Karma's come into pits. He's got a 10-second time penalty. Now that surely, by the looks of it, is going to be a retirement. Let's wait and see. No, he's gone on the softs. So now, whether he retires now, I'm not sure. He's not the only one. Sebastian Spice has come in too. So let's wait and see. What are they doing in the pits right now? Let's keep our eyes peeled. Soft tyres being bolted on. So a couple of drivers risking it for a biscuit here at the sensitive point of the race. We've still got 5 laps to go. And Sebastian Spicer, looking to cause a stir, makes contact with a barrier. Doesn't look like he sustained much damage on the run out there. Karma, unfortunately, sustaining a penalty off the back of entering the pit lane just a bit too quick.
Yeah, big gamble there. I don't know if there's enough laps. As we see, obviously, checkered flag has lost a couple of positions as well. So he's down to P10 as Ples, Carrara, and Websy all gain a position as well. And then up on the inside, MC Jamie says, thank you very much down that straight. He does have to go deep, though, on the inside. Does open the door slightly, but I think he's got enough grip to get that job done. And the Williams up into P10.
Yeah, well done to the Williams and McJamie Dodge. We also came close together up at the front end as well. Gregory Prisbill, I think, was kind of second-guessing as to whether to plumb for a move late in the day coming in towards turn 1, and I think he made the right decision, just waiting it out just a little longer. He has caught up with the back of Oscar King now, so this definitely looks like this is going to be the formality for the rest of this race. Lap 32 or 36, and very soon, as we bring an end to this one, we will see 3 laps remaining, 4 to 3 laps, or 3 to 4 laps, I should say, at this point. But what a remarkable race it has truly been, with 3 of the very best showing their true colours, their true ability. Here in the dying segments of this race, we have seen such an immense tie-up, and Campbell Adams, who led the way through the initial, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, is determined to take a place back, the place back that he had retained right through the opening stint of this race. We now watch them head down the long straight this time around. Now, does Prisbill opt for the overtake this time? Will he wait in behind? Will he wait for the final lap? I think that's his intention. As we begin lap 33, Prisbill not content to risk anything right now.
Yeah, Gregory is right in the box seat, isn't he? Don't go anywhere. Get your popcorn out. This is going to be a cracking finish. As you see, Oscar King just absolutely sliding all over the place. Remember, in probably a lap's time, we're going to get DRS back as well. And Oscar's also pumped a lot of his battery as well. So super, super interesting. Finish this race. Gregory, you'll think in prime position here.
Yeah. I'm looking at the lap times as well from those that have boxed onto the softs as
Campbell
well.
Adams!
Oh, yes, here he comes now. Gregory Prisbill now being challenged by Campbell Adams, coming through out of turn 8 and around the outside, coming through turn 10 as well, as they now go nose to tail. Campbell Adams, he tried, didn't he? But wasn't able to find it. Prisbill shutting the door. Now, will this enforce Prisbill to perhaps challenge for the lead in order to just, reduce some of the offensive that Campbell Adams is bringing him for P2?
Absolute wake-up call for Gregory Prisbill there, with Campbell Adams knocking on the door. Not only knocking, putting his foot right in the middle of it and jamming it open. Campbell Adams looking for the race win here at Zandvoort.
Yep, Prisbill now looking all over the rear. Here comes now Campbell Adams around the outside, coming through turn 1. All 3 of the podium spots now up for grabs as King runs wide of the apex. Coming through turn 1, the Ferrari coming back. Here comes Campbell Adams, now at the inside, coming through turn 3 as they run through. The Mercedes with a nose in front. Can he get the whole car in front as they come through over the crest? The Ferrari fighting tooth and nail in return, retains the place. Fantastic defence there from Gregory Prisbill. He looked to have had it lost. Campbell Adams looked to have his number, but it was ultimately slammed down by Gregory Prisbill. But Oscar King, a few frailties coming into his race.
What a move there, as we see Campbell Adams go a little bit wide, lost a little bit of traction as well just there, but not too bad. Won't hurt him too much. But Gregory Prisbill, mate, what a defense by the Ferrari guy, by the guy that's leading the championship, looking for the Triple Crown this afternoon. That is how you defend. That is why he's on top of the championship ladder. 3 laps to go.
Brace yourself, folks. You're going to be in for one hellacious ride as we now watch as Oscar King flies through the final 2 corners now. I tell you what, the warning shots have been fired. King made a mistake in the first sector of that last run, heading through on lap 34. Well, lap 35, he can't afford to make a mistake this time, and already that rear end starting to slip. The track is drying up and it's falling below the threshold of track temperature. It's heating up here at Zandvoort this time, and these intermediate tyres, they don't agree with it. This rubber is not suitable for these conditions. So the trouble here now for Oscar King, he's got to try and juggle Gregory Prisbill and Campbell Adams. It's not ideal for any of the drivers in the top 3 as it stands, but they're fighting over the same spot. P1 up for grabs, maximum points, penultimate lap of the race. Who's gonna take it? Let us know in the live chat.
Yeah, let us know your predictions here. It is between the top 3, King, Gregory and Campbell Adams, the dark horse here, looking to take the win. Currently P3. Al Carudin, we've talked about him all day, up into P7 as well. Made the move past Plevs and past Websey. What a race by him, up into P7. Probably the best position he can do today, 11 seconds behind Ferrari Pro.
Yeah, well, around the final 2 corners they will go. It's now or never as far as Gregory Prisbill is concerned. He knows that the move must be made in order to take a Triple Crown this season, and with the power of the slipstream, looks around the outside of Oscar King, and up the inside comes Campbell Adams as the trio now fly through turn 1, very nearly losing the car, Adams, and Gregory Prisbill unsuccessful coming through out of turn 2. It's still Oscar King who retains the crown so far, but there's still 3/4 of the circuit to go.
What a turn 1. Gregory trying to show his experience there, going on the outside into turn 1 to set up turn 2 on the inside, but unfortunately Campbell Adams on his outside giving him pressure and him forcing to defend and staying in P2.
Yeah, yellow flags as well. Checkered flag is round, heading through turn 1, but this is the final chance here for Gregory Prisbill, and he's finding any line to try and take the victory, but Oscar King is thwarting him around every corner so far. They fly down through towards the chicane here, and the rear stepping out for Oscar King, allowing the opportunity here for Prisbill to launch an attack. DRS is now enabled as they fly through the final 2 corners here. What a race here at Zandvoort, and there's going to be a drag race surely to the line. It's Oscar King. Will he hold it to the bitter end? He does, and Campbell Adams takes P2 across the line as well. Truly phenomenal scenes here at Zandvoort. It's Oscar King who does take the crown here at Zandvoort. Campbell Adams at a last gasp takes P2 away from Gregory Prisbill. The Triple Crown is not here, Prisbill.
What a finish, George. What a finish. You would have thought with Gregory, with the DRS enabled, would have been music to his ears. Oscar King would have been hating that news. It would have felt like a nightmare. But Gregory just kicking the back end out just slightly on turn 14. Gave Campbell Adams the run. Better grip. DRS. Thank you very much. P2. What a finish.
What a tremendous finish. Oscar King, take a bow. Victor here at Zandvoort. Campbell Adams, the sheer audacity, tenacity, the fighting spirit, it came to show here towards the bitter end here at the Dutch Grand Prix circuit, where Zandvoort has reigned supreme for many years, and Campbell Adams was the one to take back at least somewhat of a place. Obviously did hold the lead for quite some time after leading the way throughout the opening stint. It came to a head. Oscar King, though, the victor on this day. Unfortunately, we've had an online services error here as well. I mean, that's a timely one, it has to be said. Do apologise, everybody. We seem to have lost it at this stage. So, unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to get the results off the back of this one. But sit tight. We will, of course, bring you anything. Well, we will, of course, bring you results if we can. online services are in fact down. So I think they must be doing some work on something. What timing to have that issue here at this point. Wow. What a race. Truly exceptional. Fantastic job from Oscar King. And I must say, it could be a defining moment this season too. And looking at the results as well, we've got to talk about the fastest lap. That did go to the Mercedes of Campbell Adams. He took the fastest lap of the race, which could prove to be vital in terms of how the championship could unfold later on down the line. Now, this is a really, really phenomenal effort from Campbell Adams, especially off the back of his last round at Jeddah, because he was a retirement, Matthew.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic with Campbell Adams. I had a bit of a whisper in my ear that he's been practicing Zandvoort. He came in quite confident, but I didn't think that he would have done that well. What a dark horse. What a race by Campbell Adams as well. Oscar King, currently P3 in the championship, just throws the gauntlet down to Gregory, puts a challenge out there. I think Gregory does maintain P1 in the championship, but what a race by Oscar King. And then obviously the other talking point is Riley McKay. Started pole position. Just didn't go his way all day.
No, it was unbelievable, really. I mean, what a way to end a race. I mean, a drag race to the line. We saw it happen, but at the end of the day, the victor taking the spoils is Oscar King. That's his second podium this campaign, of course. Finished third back at Bahrain, and it was Prisball who won that one. But it's roles reversed this time because it's Prisball in third here in round 3. Now, this tees up a fascinating a fascinating return to Monza, of course, in a couple of days, Matthew. I mean, what does this mean for the championship? I mean, if anything, we've just opened up more doors, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the top 4 now, Jack Humphries, Oscar King, McKay, Prisable, they're going to be super, super close going into Monza. Obviously, a very different track. We've just gone from twists and turns into a speed track, into a fast track. So that's going to be really interesting as well. But yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how Gregory bounces back from this.
Yeah, it will be. It'll be absolutely interesting. I can't wait to see how it's all going to unfold, folks. But I want to thank each and every single one of you, first and foremost, for tuning into that. And I hope you all enjoyed it. Let us know your thoughts there in the live chat. We will be, of course, taking a look at some of your comments. We will, of course, also be having interviews, I believe, with some of the drivers off the back of that truly exceptional moment, that truly exceptional performance. Already we have drivers queued up in the green room. It seems prudent that we speak to our race winner first and foremost. Here he is joining us this time around. Oscar King, victor for the first time in the OFI this season and your second podium of the campaign. You must be thrilled, Oscar.
I am, George. I'm very thrilled. I can't move at all. I'm so stiff, and that was very sweaty. Yeah, no, that was huge. Yeah.
I mean, the weather conditions pretty much ripped up the script, did it not, in terms of how that race was going to unfold? I bet you were mystified as anybody as to how it was going to turn out.
Yeah, look, I mean, I had not driven on the hards a single lap at all, so that was not the plan. And then I'd not driven on the inters at all, and that was not the plan at all, so I drove on the 2 tires I was never going to drive on. But, yeah, I was wild from the start. I can't even remember what even happened at the start. And yeah, my tyres were just gone, like completely shot. So that's just what happens when you leave the train. So
well,
yeah, it was wild.
Hey, listen, I mean, it was all about obviously the work after the opening stint. You were very patient at the very beginning. You let the battles all really unfold in front of you. Then, of course, the rain started. It really twisted the entire race. Was there any concerns that maybe there would be a return to the slick tyres before the end of the race?
A little bit here and there. There's lap 29-ish. Was looking at it, but like lap 32, it was clear that anyone who pitted was not going to have the delta to make up over the course of 3 laps, even if it dried instantly. So it was inches to the end, and I planned that after the pit stop, like I'd have to get the tires home, and like barely did, honestly, with 3 more laps of dry running, and the tires are puncturing easily. So yeah.
Well, what this does mean is that it pushes you up to second in the championship, which is vitally important. And on top of that, you're only 17 points behind Gregory Prisbill. One rough race for him next time out when we head to Monza, for example, and you take, say, all the points. I mean, there's a huge chance there at taking the championship lead come Thursday. I mean, that's surely got to be something you have your eye on, right?
Oh yeah. Look, we'll just go out and race. It seems like there's a group of 5 of us that are pretty clear of the rest of the field at the moment. So yeah, the point swings are really not that significant.
Well, there we have it. Well, at this moment, they are significant. You're moving up to second, so congratulations, Oscar. wish you all the very best when we head to Italy on Thursday.
Thanks, boys.
Thank you so much. So that is Oscar King, everybody, race winner from our race today at Zandvoort. We're now going to be bringing in as well one of the fellow contenders, Campbell Adams, who I must say provided us with a lot of the drama through the course of that one. He's currently muted at the moment, but hopefully he'll unmute now. He has. Campbell Adams, you join us here in the commentary box. What a clutch performance, can I just say. I mean, after you took the race lead off your teammate Riley McKay, you had a really difficult start off the line, the rear tyres spinning up for him. You then took the lead for the entirety of the first stint. The second stint, the rain came down. Things kind of went awry for you as I suppose the medium tyres became less and less effective towards the end of the first stint. And then the drag race to the line. What a moment.
Yeah, that race was unreal. Like straight from the start, was really considering the hards, but we went for the mediums. Got the start, perfect start. Couldn't ask for a better start. And then as soon as it started raining, it was perfect timing because the mediums were just dropping off like crazy. So then when it was inters time and we boxed, I was really comfortable, and then I made a very silly mistake of touching the grass in the middle sector and giving up the lead to Oscar. And then I tried my hardest to get back past him, but with no DRS, it's just super hard to pass here. Then I made another mistake and Gregory got past, and then I kept trying to pass him as well. It was super hard to pass. And then, yeah, the DRS coming back right before the finish line just couldn't have worked better. And I saved my ARS for that. And yeah, the drag race was really fun.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was fun to watch, put it that way. I mean, you yourself, you've had fun at the start of this season. You, of course, had a retirement last time out at Jeddah. I mean, how important was it to really get a significant result? Because you showed that you had the ability back at Bahrain. It was P4 from 4th on the grid. You're one step away, essentially, from the podium. This almost a reprieve after the disappointment back at Jeddah, where you started P3 and then lost the car altogether. But to take P2 and the fastest lap, I mean, whilst obviously it's not the victory, you still claim P2 and a bonus point for the fastest lap.
Yeah, I actually completely forgot that I had the fastest lap. So yeah, it's obviously a confidence boost to see that I have the pace of these guys up front and can mix it well with them. I mean, they were defending like nothing I've ever driven against before, so it was good fun. Little bit of contact here and there, but that's part of it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to Monza.
Yeah, and thoughts ahead. Looking ahead to Monza, how does it rank on your list of favourite tracks?
It's an interesting one. It's not many quarters, but they're super technical and super hard to get right. So I'll have to do some practice and see where I'm at with that track. I haven't driven it for a while, so we shall see.
Well, I'll tell you what, we will see indeed. Congratulations on all your efforts. Unfortunately, it wasn't the win, but still a very good P2. And what a dramatic finish as well. We look forward to seeing you at Monza.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That, of course, being Campbell Adams, everybody. What a performance off the back of a very tricky race in terms of conditions at Zandvoort. Last but not least, certainly not least, championship leader Gregory Prisbill joins us here as well in the commentary box. Gregory, not the race probably you envisaged. You probably would have preferred to lay claim to your third race win in a row this campaign and maximise in terms of potential race points here today, but still nonetheless you still hold the championship lead, and I must say to really get a result in conditions like that where they were so changeable, it's hard at the best of times.
Yeah, I mean, first off, it was a great battle with everyone. I think the driving standards were better that race than they have been in the previous two. Yeah, we just did the wrong strategy, like the worst possible tire to start on at the start. I think we underestimated how bad the hards were going to be. But yeah, I just made a stupid mistake at the end, which cost me the win, so nothing more to say.
No, I mean, it was a tricky one. Obviously, when the weather came in, there was a bit of mystery as to whether we'd return to the dry tyres. I know that when I was speaking to Oscar King, that there was thoughts and feelings that we might see, maybe even a late pit stop to switch to slick tyres. But as we got deeper into the race, it did look like that eventually softs were a no-go towards the bitter end, just due to the sheer amount of time you would have lost in the pit lane. And at the end, I think you all favoured track position, right?
Yeah, I mean, track position is key in everything, yeah. I got really lucky with Campbell making that mistake, but yeah, I've only got myself to blame for the loss of the win. I mean, yeah, there's nothing more to say, really. I threw that away.
Well, let's look ahead to Monza. What are your thoughts heading to the Temple of Speed?
Well, if that race is anything to go by, it's going to be even closer, even more chaotic, and, I mean, it's just going to be really, really fun to race, but it's got to be better on strategy calls.
Yeah. So the championship not done by any means. Gregory, we wish you all the very best. Great effort on capturing the podium, but I'm sure you'll probably want more. We'll look ahead to Monza anyway.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much. That's Gregory Prisbell, everybody. Seemingly not a happy man, Matthew.
Yeah, quite disappointed. I think he said it himself, you know, coming around turn 14 at the end there. He knew that he lost traction and could have cost him the win, especially with DRS open as well. So super disappointing for Gregory, but he's a class act. I'm sure he's going to bounce back.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, he's a championship leader for a reason. He won the first 2 races of the season. He was on the cusp of the Triple Crown. At the end of the day, it's still a 100% podium record, this campaign, at the end of the day. So you'd be foolish to write him off, right?
Exactly. And it's just like, you know, all the champions that we see, they're always the hardest on themselves. But obviously he had that save where he got contact. I can't remember who it was by, maybe Riley. So his race could have ended a lot earlier. I thought it was a great race by Gregory. Super unlucky at the end, but that's racing.
Yeah, and obviously, what does this do for Oscar King's championship as well? Because obviously, you don't get much more of a confidence booster than this, and you could hear in his voice towards the bitter end. I think he was just relieved to get that one over the line. I think towards the end.
Yeah, I think when DRS opened, I think his heart stopped. I think he would have thought that the race was over as well, that he would have lost it. I mean, he was sliding all over the place in the final couple of laps as well. But like you said, I mean, it's a confidence booster. Going into Monza, he's now a race winner of OFI, and that does massive things to your confidence. You know, he goes in there knowing now that he can actually take the win. And going into the Temple of Speed, I mean, it's a great track. It really levels people out a lot. So it'll be super interesting to see if Oscar can go back-to-back, at least on the podium.
Yeah, and he arrives there now P2 in the championship and 17 points away from our championship leader, Gregory Prisbell. So there's opportunity there for him. And no doubt we'll see perhaps more from the likes of Riley McKay, because, of course, he seems to be a bit of a quali merchant right now. Has qualified in the top 3 in all 3 sessions, but also has taken 2 pole positions back-to-back. Is it just a case he needs to perhaps relook, you know, at his race pace as opposed to just his quali pace?
Yeah, I think so. We certainly see it with a few drivers. For Riley McKay, you just don't want it to become a pattern. You don't want it to keep repeating. Obviously, super fast in qualifying. He had that start where he lost a few positions, and then he had that mistake, I think, lap 13 or 14, where he went down to sort of P5, P6. But he's obviously got a lot of pace. It could be a setup issue as well. He could have a quality setup on as well. But as you can see, I mean, there's a few guys that qualified quite low down, but in the race they really came through. You know, Al Karoon and Plevs, and obviously Gregory and that sort of stuff as well. So yeah, something to look out for Riley. Maybe a setup issue. Maybe it's a racing issue.
Yeah, well, we'll soon find out and see how things pan out for him at Monza. Obviously, there's others to watch as well, folks, so you don't want to miss the thing. Obviously, we've got the likes of Jack Humphries, Reece Fisher's going to be looking to bounce back. You know, Campbell Adams obviously may be looking to go maybe one step further on where he ended as well. There are so many questions to answer, but you can bet your bottom dollar you're going to find out those answers in the final 3 rounds we're going to be bringing you in this championship, which will lead us up through to December. Just a little reminder, folks, as to where our calendar for the rest of the campaign. We can strike the Netherlands off the list. We look ahead to Monza for round 4, which is coming up this week on the 14th of November. That is this coming Thursday. And then we have a little bit of a break, which takes us through to December. On the 10th of December, we arrive at Mexico City for the penultimate round. And that week, of course, we bring you the grand finale, where we roll the dice at Las Vegas, Nevada on the 12th of December. So be sure to tune in for that one, where we will decide the championship, I am sure. But nonetheless, it has been a truly special day. A special day as well for the likes of our race winner, Oscar King. What a result to lay claim to that victory. Now, if you want to check out the OFI, please do make sure you head across to the socials. There is, of course, a Discord as well. Stay up to date. Also, don't miss out on the competition for the Next Level Racing FGT rig as well. If you want to enter, remember, 1 entry per stream. That is 6 entries maximum that you can have prior to the final round, where we will, of course, announce the winner after the race at the final round when, of course, we head to Vegas. So if you want to enter and get involved, please make sure you use hashtag NLR NLR FGT, and you can then enter yourself in with a chance of taking that fantastic prize. Of course, this championship proudly sponsored and powered by Next Level Racing. But nonetheless, if you want to check out the league, please make sure you do stay up to date with everything. Leave a follow to the Twitch channel and make sure you find out when we go live. And also, if you enjoyed the commentary, be sure to check us out as well. You can find me at George Morgan TV on Twitter, Instagram and TikTok. It's all the same at George Morgan TV. Matthew, where can the good audience find you, sir?
Oh, they can find me at Matt Skills on Twitch and on Instagram as well, and TikTok. So yeah, at Matt Skills, it's all the same as well. I think my Twitch is at Matt Skills 44.
Yeah, and also just prior to this, obviously it's been great working with you on this one, and I just want to ask you as a person, what does a championship like this mean to Oceanic region? Obviously we're trying to grow the F1 scene, the F1 sim racing scene around globally, essentially, but also Oceanic as well, as they look to try and find the next F1 sim racing star as well. As I said, we've looked at names like Jack Humphreys in the past, Gregory Prisbille obviously today, Oscar King maybe as well, but you never know what's around the corner. I mean, what does this kind of championship mean to Oceanic racing on the F1 game?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, we haven't had someone from the Oceania region up into esports. We would love to see it. We'd love to see someone like Gregory Prisbille or Riley McKay up there representing the Oceania region. But what it also does as well is for these grassroots leagues, it gives them a bit of a spotlight as well. So I think it just lifts all of the Oceanic region, both the drivers get some esports opportunities, but also lifts the leagues up as well, and just gives a platform for everyone to be able to improve or just get into league racing, into the sport that we love. So I think it's a great event. I think OFI put on a fantastic championship, which is seen by the stream. And George, it's been an absolute privilege and honour to call the race with you, mate. You're an absolute master of the craft. So I want to say thank you to you as well.
You are too kind, Matthew, and can I just say you did a tremendous job yourself, sir. It was a pleasure sharing the box with you, and I have to say, it's like you so rightly say, rising tides lift all ships, and we will continue to do that as well for the Oceanic region. But folks, it has been an absolute pleasure. We will of course be back on Thursday when we head to the Temple of Speed, Monza, for round 4 of the OFI Championship. But from me and Matthew, it's been a privilege. We'll see you very soon. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.